You're listening to the Baumbastic Podcast with Andrew Ellis on Inside Arkansas.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Baumbastic Podcast, the number one podcast on the planet for anything, but especially for Arkansas Razorback baseball. And this is the first watch party of the season. We've been doing these midweek live streams, calling all casuals, where we all chat, have a great time, talk Razorback baseball. We're still going to do that, but we're going to do it while Arkansas plays a midweek game against Arkansas State. Heated in-state rivalry. Looking forward to seeing it, and looking forward to chatting with you guys, hanging out, watching some baseball. For those that have not been here with us before, I can't put the actual game on the screen because YouTube would shoot me down dead in the process, but the goal of this thing is for you to be watching the game on your television, your laptop, or whatever, and then listening to this, kind of like a game companion type of thing. You see here in this little box right here, it's got the lineups right now. This will eventually turn into the score, which honestly may be a distraction because it may provide spoilers if you're watching on a little bit of delay because the stat broadcast is pretty up to the minute. But we're going to have a good time. We're going to talk baseball. So you can get your chats in, get your questions in. We're going to run through them. It's going to be a very laid-back, chill edition of the show, as you might imagine. But we're just going to be reacting to Arkansas's first midweek game of the year. Hopefully it's a fun, exciting match. I'm also hoping that it is under 3 hours. I've got a call with a photographer for my wedding at 6 p.m. Arkansas has only had one game this year that has gone over 3 hours, which, knock on wood, thank you for the pitch clock. Only had one game go over 3 hours, and it was the 11-inning game in Arlington, which was also at an inconvenient time because I had to travel that day. So let's hope nothing crazy happens. But thank you for being here. I hope we can all have a good time, and enjoy some Razorback baseball. I'm going to be going back and forth. I've got like the multiple tabs here. I've got the, obviously the tab I'm streaming from, got the tab that has the stat broadcast. So so it's showing you guys that so you can see what the score is if you're hopping in here or kind of moving around. And I've got the stream on another tab. And so hopefully I'm not missing too much of the game while keeping, you guys in the chat happy. And also, hopefully, I'm not missing too many of your chats while I'm sitting here watching the game. We're going to kind of do a little bit of everything. Obviously, between innings will be a good time for us to get to some of your chats. We are now at 3:02, so I feel like we should be getting real close to first pitch here. I've seen a lot of people talking about the lineup. We've obviously got Peyton Lee, freshman from Maumelle, big right-hander on the bump today. So looking forward to seeing what he can what he can do on the mound. The last time I saw him pitch at Baum-Walker Stadium was 2 weeks ago against the starting lineup on a Sunday, and he absolutely shoved. 8 strikeouts, looked really good. Had a really solid debut, I would say, in Arlington against Tarleton. Went 4 1/3, struck out 5, only allowed 1 run. Kind of ran out of gas a little bit there at the end, but threw the ball pretty well. Excited to see what he can do. And, there we are. I don't know what you guys are looking at on your screen. Hopefully I'm not spoiling stuff for you. Right now on my screen, they're showing Peyton Lee, showing his little, his height, weight, all that. And it looks like he's getting ready to throw his first pitch. So let's strap in. Let's have a great time. And again, we'll be chatting, talking baseball, however. So get your chats in there. All right, now you see the score bug is now up to date. I'm going to try and zoom in a little bit, see if we can get a close look at that score. How does that look? Could maybe get a little bit better there. But, first pitch of the game is a pop-up, it looks like. I don't know what happened. I think Nolan Souza caught it. Nolan Souza, who, by the way, is starting at third base today, his first time playing the field all season. He's obviously coming back from that shoulder injury, has been DHing for Arkansas. He's playing third base today. Started a lot of games at second base last year. We know he's a good defender. We know he's a really good athlete, but that arm is kind of working its way back into shape. And we didn't get to see it because the camera missed it, but it does look like Nolan Souza is perfect as a fielder to start this season. So 1 pitch, 1 out for Peyton Lee. Should get the freshman settled in there. Arkansas going with the traditional home whites. I thought they might wear some pins today, maybe some reds. We'll see what they wear tomorrow. It is a 2-game midweek series. Good little fastball, arm side, strike 1. Good pitch there from Peyton Lee. It's going to be mostly fastball slider from Peyton Lee. Fastball's kind of in that 92, 94 range. Every now and then he can run it up at 95, 96, and he's 6'5", projectable. There's a little bit more in there. It's a foul ball for strike 2. The put away for pitch for Peyton Lee is a slider, and it is a damn good one. Got about 10 to 12 inches of horizontal break on that sucker. Spins it in like the 2,700 range. it's a very much a plus pitch for Peyton Lee. That's where most of his strikeouts will come from. He does throw a changeup. I've seen him throw it a few times. Not a ton. It's kind of one of those just to kind of keep you off balance. Now against the lefty, maybe he'll go to it. But it's definitely the slider is the pitch that he wants to get to, similar to Cole Gibler last year when he was pitching as a freshman. Well-located fastball on the outside edge is the first ball. And again, I don't know where I may be behind. I may be ahead. I don't know. For me right now, it's a 1-2 count with one out for Peyton Lee. Looks good up there. Can't quite land the breaking ball. How are we doing today? Everybody feeling good? Is everybody nervous about this? Is everybody nervous about this game? Are you panicked? Are you stressed? Are you excited? What's our feel with the Arkansas Razorbacks these days? I can never tell. All righty. Strikeout for Peyton Lee. Picks up his first strikeout of the day. I missed the pitch because I was going between tabs. Ooh, gets a swing and miss with a slider to start the other one. I'm about to actually go back a little bit, see if I can get that strikeout pitch, see what it looked like. What are we looking at here? Oh, just absolutely freezes him with the breaking ball for that strikeout in a 2-2 count. Okay, quickly ahead 0-2 to the other guy. So Peyton Lee, doing a good job through this first inning. This is good experience for Peyton Lee, who I think has a chance to really help Arkansas on the weekends by the end of this season. But what's the easiest way to kind of speed run some collegiate experience for Peyton Lee? He gets 4 1/3 innings of work last week. We'll see how long he goes today, but it won't be too long before he's got 15, 20 innings under his belt, which may not seem like a big deal. But I mean, think about someone like Hunter Dietz, who Arkansas is trying to work into this Saturday starter role. He threw 4 innings yesterday, which brought his career total to like 11, maybe not even 11. I don't even know if he's got double-digit innings. Ooh, slider gets through for a base hit, 1-2 count. Or honestly, just a good piece of hitting there from the hitter. I don't think it was like over the heart of the plate. I think it was down and away, just kind of in protect mode, gets to it. But no, I think these innings are going to be super valuable for Peyton Lee to kind of just, like I said, speed run some experience. Yeah, just kind of hitting a good spot right there. And, we'll see. And the good thing for Arkansas is they've got so many veteran guys, don't really need to like force him into the action on the weekend. But I think there's him and a few other freshmen that are gonna have a nice little chance. All right, strike one, swing and miss. I'm told Arkansas State's good at baseball. I can't confirm this. I would have no way of knowing this information, but I've been told that they got a pretty good team this year. It says they're 5-2 up there. So, Quickly gets ahead 0-2, throwing a lot of strikes here early. I see my boy Ryan in here says, who you think on the bump tomorrow, Ellis? This is a good question. I don't know for sure. I mean, I definitely wouldn't be, whoever I'm about to say, I don't feel super confident in it. My guess would be it's one of the freshmen. Maybe Mark Brissy, maybe Joey Lorenzini makes his collegiate debut in a starting role. In fact, I think Lorenzini, if I were to guess, might be my guess. Brissy will definitely throw in one of these 2 games, but Brissy honestly might be a guy that you throw today because everyone who throws in this Tuesday game would be very much available Friday, Saturday, Sunday, unless they throw, an insane amount of pitches. Ooh, thought we had strike 3 right there. But yeah, anyone who throws today out of the bullpen, I imagine you're going to see Ethan McIlvain come in relief today, maybe Cooper Dossett, maybe Jackson Kersher, maybe Tate McGuire. I think the game plan will probably be get those guys 1, maybe 2 innings, and then they're perfectly available for the weekend. Because most guys, we got a guy to pick off. All righty, TJ Pompey, who's playing shortstop today, throws the tag on him, and Arkansas is out of the top of the first inning. Good stuff. Arkansas's been low-key picking some guys off this year, and they've been getting picked off themselves. But no, yeah, I think today the game plan is probably get those veterans some work. Anyone who is going to throw, like if you have a guy who's like, for instance, Cole Gibler, who is your closer, who threw on Friday night last week, threw on Friday night the week before that, you would assume he's probably going to throw Friday night. He's not going to throw tonight, but like Cole Gibler, who is getting ready to throw on Friday, almost certainly threw a bullpen today. in, kind of making sure he's sharp throughout the week, and then you're going to have him ready to go on the weekend. So anybody who throws in the game today, especially for 1 to 2 innings, that's pretty much the equivalent of throwing a bullpen. You just did it against some hitters, maybe a little bit more effort involved there, a little bit more intensity with it. But it would definitely not disqualify you from throwing Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Whereas if you throw Wednesday, let's say you throw the 7th, 8th, and 9th on Wednesday, you're probably not available until probably Sunday. And so I think you'll probably see a lot more freshman arms tomorrow. And so we'll see what they do with Brissy, because I think Brissy's a guy that they would maybe like to have in the weekend mix a little bit, or at least have as an option. But you also want to get him some experience. So if they can't do it tonight, it's got to come tomorrow a little bit. But between innings, before Arkansas comes to the bat, let's get through some chats real quick. I see they're rolling in here real quick. Start with our guy, Not a Burner, who's been this is our guy, Vince, for me. He's been very upset during baseball season, I've noticed. I think he's very low on this team. I've just noticed him very disgruntled early on so far. But he says, AE, any chance of getting Phil or Bubba on the show? Genuinely believe that they are some of the best voices in baseball. Yeah, absolutely. I have a pretty good relationship with Phil. We don't like hang out all the time or anything, but we're kind of friends, and I usually have good interactions with him. I could probably get him on the podcast. Bubba, I don't have a bad relationship with him. I just we're not boys like that. We're kind of like nod when you see him, kind of like we don't we've never really shared, any real moment together. So I don't know about him. And honestly, they used to do their podcast Bases Loaded. That was the main reasons why, my first year, because I thought about it for a while, maybe getting Phil to voice something is oh, hey, here's the Baumbastic Podcast with Andrew Ellis, and getting Phil to voice it. But if they've got their own, I don't really want to mess with that. But since they don't have their podcast anymore, I might have to look into that a little bit. I see Ben says it's his Brumball hanging out with DVH today, referencing what Dave said a couple weeks ago. Yeah, Brumball not in the lineup. I wouldn't read too much into that. One, it's a Tuesday. Midweek games are times where you kind of are going to mix up the lineup a little bit, but also Brumball just maybe needed a day off. Definitely need him reset, refocus. I imagine he'll be back in the lineup tomorrow. But yeah, they're gonna explore their options, get some other guys some opportunities. I think they really wanted to get Nolan Souza in the field and get him some work, and so I think that's really what kind of made that decision is, hey, you got to play Nolan Souza somewhere. Where are you going to do it? It's already a 1-2 count. It looks like to Micah New. I'm over here getting distracted. Fouls one off to stay alive. Would love to see Micah New get going. Would also love to see TJ Pompey get going. Would also love to see Carson Brumball get going once he's back in that lineup. I think these 2 games are going to be huge for that. Really just this whole homestand in general. Micah New in the leadoff spot. Takes a ball high, 2-2. Yeah, we'll see, man. I mean, Micah New certainly is a guy that can get hot in a hurry for Arkansas. And yesterday on the show, we were kind of looking at the comparisons between 2025, 2026, and you see all these guys like Logan Maxwell, who was 2 for 15 at this point last year, and Ryder Helfrich was 4 for 18 at this point last year. Justin Thomas was, I think he's hitting 235. Some of Arkansas's most productive pieces really didn't do much at the start of the year. You think about guys who would be candidates for that. Ooh, Micah New. Micah New makes it a 1-0 ball game. Just absolutely jumped all over a 3-2 fastball and potes it in the hog pen. That was a good swing. It's a good swing right there. Good AB, too. He fell down 1-2, fouled off a couple, worked the count back full, gets a heater he can do some damage with, and does not miss it. Love to see that from Micah New. And it's perfect timing, because I was just about to say, if you look at this Razorback lineup and some of the guys that aren't necessarily crushing it right now, like New, like Souza, like Pompey, like Brumball, and you think, all right, who are some candidates that could really wind up being one of your top hitters that we will look back on and say, oh, remember when they started slow? I think Micah New is certainly maybe the most prime candidate for that. Yeah, 89-mile-an-hour fastball right down Main Street. Good hitters are going to take advantage of that. Micah New is a good hitter. Yeah, we'll see if that gets him going. That's his first home run at Baum, second home run of the year, because he had that walk-off home run against Oklahoma State to start. Ooh, Nolan Souza lays down a bunt. It's going to go foul. Nobody loves bunting foul more than the Arkansas Razorbacks. Just got to keep them honest sometimes, Just got to make sure they're paying attention. Let's see. Samuel Brooks wants to know, Andrew, most realistic finish for this baseball season, just an appearance in Omaha, champs, just regional. I mean, well, again, this is an impossible question to answer this time of year, but I would say getting back to Omaha is probably like where the barometer should be. Anything below Omaha, you should be a little bit annoyed and be like, dang, what happened? Anything past that is kind of bonus. Obviously, the goal is win the national title. I think Arkansas's got a chance to do that. I think there's a lot of teams that have a chance to do that. A lot of really good squads, but I feel like a realistic expectation. I mean, Arkansas is currently ranked 6th, and I think that's about where they are everywhere, anywhere from that 4 to 8 range. I think Baseball America has them 9, but if you're a top 8 team, your expectations should be Omaha, especially if you end up getting a national seed. And so if you're asking for a realistic expectation, I think that would be it, going to the College World Series. A 1-2 count now here to Souza. Got down 0-2 pretty quick. Takes one low. Starter for Arkansas State named Andrew Allen. I believe he's made 2 appearances so far this year and has only recorded 5 outs. Like had an inning and 2/3, giving up a few runs, few hits, like nothing. Like didn't have a huge sample size of data through 2 weeks. So I don't know if he's just, one of their guys they're trying to get going. I don't know anything about the bloke other than that he had thrown 1.2 innings coming into this. Good take there. Good take from Suze. Yeah, it's crazy that Souza only has 1 walk so far this year. Last year, he had 19 walks in 30 games. And he didn't even play. I mean, he was at the bottom of the lineup and didn't even, play all 9 innings in a lot of those games. Ends up grounding one over to the right side. That'll be out number 1. But yeah, he drew the same amount of walks in 30 games that Cam Kojal took in the entire season. And then now here we are through 2 weeks, and Cam Kojal's got like 7 walks, and Souza just drew his first walk the other day. I expect that to kind of switch up for him. But I think Souza, if he's going to be in that top of the lineup, has got to learn to just take balls that are out of the zone, which he did in that AB. Ends up grounding out on a pitch, on a pretty well-located pitch. That was somewhat close to the zone in 2-strike zone. 2-strike situation, you kind of just have to protect there. But if he can continue kind of knowing what pitches, these pitchers are trying to get him out with, like when you're facing a right-handed pitcher and he throws you a 1-2 changeup, laying off of that is going to be something he's going to have to be getting used to do. He did a good job there in that AB. Encouraging signs. Ryder Helfrich smokes a base hit up the middle, 1-0 count. Second hit of the inning for Arkansas. Boy, I'd love a run rule right here, man. Would love a run rule. Love it. Let's see. Also, I'm going to try and zoom this score bug in just a little bit more. Yes, here we go. This'll do. This'll do now. That looks better, doesn't it? Now you can see it. Okay. So I guess I would bring Kojal up with 1 out, 1 on, 1 out for Camden Kojal, as they call him. Oh, Helfrich's out at second base. Tried to advance on a ball in the dirt that the catcher just really didn't bobble at all. I think he, saw shin guards down, thought, okay, that ball's getting by him. He ended up not bobbling it at all and was able to throw him out. Helfrich, I think, has now been thrown out stealing 4 times this season. I could be wrong on this. I think he's 1 for 5 on the base paths this year. And he's an athletic guy. He's got more speed than your typical catcher, but we don't need to be running into outs consistently like this. I think Arkansas is now 8 for 13 on the base paths this year. Looking at a 2-0 count to Camden Kojal, who's off to just a tremendous start this season. Oof, swings through a heater. He was going deep sea fishing on that swing right there, as you should in a 2-0 count. I would rather you swing and miss, swinging out your shoes in a 2-0 count, than I would, you pop one up. If you're gonna swing out your shoes 2-0, don't make contact. Unless, obviously, you make firm contact on the barrel. It drives me nuts. I would so much rather 2-0 you swing and miss. I would so much rather that than 2-0 you get an elevated fastball that's not really down the middle, you pop it up or you ground out, something stupid like that. All right, takes one down low, 3-2. So Andrew Allen has thrown 20 pitches this inning. Got Ryder Helfrich to just run into an out, which helped him. But if it weren't for that, you'd be looking at a dangerous situation to a good hitter, runner on base. Fouls one back. Yeah, if it weren't for that caught stealing, Arkansas would be really ramping up his workload, making him work a lot of high stress pitches. Another foul ball for Camden Kojal, who is, historically, I was just talking about how he's got all these walks to start the year, which is not really something he did a ton of. Man, you're starting to see him really make these pitchers work a little bit, seeing more pitches in his ABs, and doing damage with the pitches that he gets a piece of. Oof, good pitch right there, executed. Looked like maybe a slider, down and into the lefty, not in the strike zone, and that's just a good pitch right there. Okay, so Arkansas is now through the first inning, up 1-0, courtesy of a Micah New home run. Let's see. Did anybody see any metrics on that sucker? We get any metrics? I would assume it was at least 400 feet because it was hit extremely comfortably over the fence in left field, pretty deep into the seats right there. But okay, let's get through some chats real quick. Ryan wants to know if we'll see Dossett today or held to the weekend. I would go ahead and get Dossett an inning of work today. Again, like I was saying with some of those other guys, just one inning. He throws 17 pitches. That's perfectly fine. That's a perfect little bullpen right there. So I like to see that. Yeah, I would get Dossett an inning of work in there. Let's see. I see. Samuel said, I'm panicked about the baseball game tomorrow. And I was kind of confused, but then he followed up and said, panicked about the basketball game tomorrow. Feel that a little bit. Although I do think Arkansas is going to get it done against A&M. We shall see. Let's see. Caleb says, I'm encouraged to see Souza already back in the field. Gives DVH options with keeping whoever's hot in the lineup when Brumball has started slow. No, I think that's 100% right. You just want the options, and I'm sure Souza could start. I mean, we saw him start at second last year. They've played him at shortstop in scrimmages. I know that they like his glove there. He played some shortstop last year, actually, when Vahiva wasn't playing. And, he's got some versatility as a fielder. And like you said, just options. That's what it gives you. And believe it or not, I know third base, it's far away from first base. So you think, oh, that's a hard throw to make. The throw from third to first, if you're playing up near the bag, really not that hard of a throw compared to shortstop deep in the hole. You're far away from the bag. It's kind of a different angle. That's a much, much, much tougher throw. So I think early in the year, or at least early as he's working his way back, I think third base makes a lot of sense for Nolan Souza. And let's hope he does a good job. Let's see. Seth wants to know, do you think Tate stays in the bullpen or does he have a chance to crack the rotation potentially? I mean, he certainly has a chance. He was very much in that mix. Him and Cole Gilbert were both very much in that weekend starter mix. For me right now, it's like, I get how, it seems you look at a guy and he's doing a great job and you would maybe look at him and say, all right, let's give him a bigger role. I think of it as like, man, if you're doing so well in the role right now, like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's kind of how I feel. Now, you could say, looks like we got a quick 0-2 ground out to Kojal at second base for the first out. And I guess you could say, Hunter Dietz hasn't been great in that Saturday role. So, like, is that maybe a spot you upgrade? That would be what I would keep my eye on. If they just get into, a few weeks of SEC play and, Dietz isn't really making progress, I think they've got some options. I mean, they could go Gibbler there, could go McGuire. I don't really see a reason to do that right now. Especially because, like I was saying with Peyton Lee, with Dietz, you're just trying to get him as much experience as possible. So I think keeping him in that starting role for now makes a lot of sense. And then if you decide you have a better option, we can do it. We'll see. Ooh, looks like Arkansas State has tied the game on a home run. Micah New was kind of close. Thought he might have a chance to rob that one. Interesting. Let me see. Let me go back and see what pitch we're looking at here. 0-1 count. That might have been the changeup. And it was like belt high right over the heart of the plate. Yeah. I think that was the changeup that got obliterated by a left-handed pitcher right there. Aiden Houseworth as his second home run of the year. So now we got a tie game with a couple solo home runs. By the way, I don't have the broadcast audio one, so maybe they're giving y'all some insight into, oh, yeah, they don't have the miles per hour up on the screen either. But just kind of looking at the movement did kind of look like a changeup. By the way, we do have metrics on the Micah New home run for those that are curious. 407 feet to left field, 106 miles an hour off the bat, 36.5 launch angle too. So that was an absolute mammoth. That was a grown man home run right there. 3-2 fastball, just one of those pitches you dream about. Ooh, good pitch right there for the swing and miss, 1-2 count. And if you're Lee, no solo home runs ain't gonna beat you. Your offense is about to score at least 9 runs in this game. You know, you're trying to land the changeup early in the count. I'm okay with it. Oof. 1-2 slider just caught a little bit too much of the plate. It's weird. His off-speed pitches are the ones that are giving him some trouble here. That's twice now he's had a 2-strike slider that has been hit through the left side for a base hit. Neither pitch was like egregious, right down the middle or anything like that. But when that hitter's in protect mode, they're going to usually get their bat to anything close to the zone, especially when it's off speed and they can get to it. It seems like they've kind of figured out. I was saying right here, I was like, hey, that's another base hit going to get through the right side. Interesting. Okay, so you got runners at first and third now. Another base hit through the infield. This one was not hit hard at all, but I think Kojal must have just been kind of playing up more up the middle, and so it gets just by him a little bit. Oh, yeah. He was kind of in double play depth, and it was hit right in that little gap between, with Reese Robinette holding the runner at first, and so it just kind of was a ground ball that found a hole. Tough luck right here so far for Peyton Lee, because he's not throwing the ball poorly, but had a changeup over the heart of the plate that got obliterated, and then just a few base hits that have kind of found a hole. So first and third, 1 out. Let's see the freshman go to work. Let's hunker down and execute some pitches. Should be getting close to the bottom of the lineup, I would imagine. And it looks like we're maybe getting a mound visit. Interesting. This is good quality experience here, boys. Let's see. Where else we got going on in the chat real quick while we look at this? Let's see. Ryan wants to know, what is a realistic expectation for New now that you have seen him in real competition? Well, we really haven't seen a ton of real competition. I mean, they played in Arlington a little bit. He was okay there. They played Xavier, who's solid. Xavier's about what competition he faced last year in the Sun Belt, which, by the way, I know the Sun Belt's not the SEC. The Sun Belt is not like some schmuck conference that, doesn't have any talent there. Now, obviously, he's going to face a little bit better competition. I think Micah New is going to be a guy that has a below average batting average, like probably in the 260 range. But I think he's going to have the home runs and the doubles, and he's going to do some damage. If he's driving in runs, and who knows where he'll end up in this Razorback lineup. But I do think he's a guy that can do a lot of damage for Arkansas. And I'm behind now because every time I go switch tabs or whatever, it kind of it skips. It doesn't skip ahead. It just kind of pauses. But it looks like, dude, another base hit, just kind of hitting the right spot. 2-0 count. Has to throw a fastball. Batter gets the bat to it. And so now you got, was that 5 hits? It's now a 2-1 game. Runners on first and second. Let's see. I thought they were having a mound visit before, which is why I started going to the chat. Now they're really having a mound visit. And looks like it's getting wrapped up now. I'm sure the chat is handling this well. Let's see what they're saying. Yeah, see, I do see Jacob Amoto, the lefty from the JUCO ranks, is is getting up and loose down there. Have not seen him yet this year. Let's see. And nobody's panicking too much. Alrighty, Peyton Lee. Let's go to work, kid. Caden Amundsen now up at the plate. From Minnesota to Arkansas State. Gets the call. Outside, glove side fastball to outside to a righty. Okay. TV says 1-1 count. I have no idea if that's accurate, but we'll go with it. Okay. Foul ball, strike 2. Now it switches to 0-2, which I think is right. Who knows? Yeah, I imagine there's going to be a lot of people who look at the line and see 5 hits. And they're going to be like, wow, so he was just getting shelled out there. It really wasn't. Oh, hits him with an 0-2 pitch. That is the third time this year, I believe, that Peyton Lee has hit a player in an 0-2 count. Last week or a couple weeks ago, he threw a slider that hit someone's foot in an 0-2 count. Now you're looking at bases loaded, 1 out. Man, that's a tough one. You had him up 0-2, tried to go high with the fastball. Just gets him right on the elbow guard. He didn't make a great effort to get out of the way, but I think they're probably okay to roll with that one. Gets a swing and miss to start the next AB. Really need a punch out right here, and it does what the stat broadcast is saying. Oh, geez. Oof. There's been a lot of talk about it. You know, that's been like the thing. I mean, he struck out the starting lineup 7 times with that slider just a couple weeks ago. He threw it a ton last week. I believe all his strikeouts may have come with that slider. They've definitely identified it and been ready for it. And then he throws another 0-2 slider that luckily is going to hang up for Kahio Aloy. And he's able to catch it for out number 2. But another 0-2 slider right down the middle. You just gotta not do that, in my humble opinion. But he's getting some experience. He's learning. Looking at a 6-1 game in the top of the second inning. Arkansas going to have to bring their bats out, man. Arkansas going to have to bring them bats out, aren't they? All righty. Would be nice if you could just get through this inning. I mean, you're going to end up with 6 runs no matter what. 6 runs not going to make you feel good in any way, shape, or form. But if you can get through this inning, you know, at least feel like you responded a little bit to adversity, that'd be nice. But certainly not how he probably envisioned his first career start at Baum going. But better to do this in a Tuesday. Okay. Hey, there you go. 0-2 executes a slider extremely well this time. Low and away. Can't get hurt there. Gets a swing and miss finally. So, yeah, and I do see Ray makes a great point here. He says, in Lee's defense, if third base, shortstop, and second are shaded just a bit, then none of the hits are hits. Other than the 2 that went over the fence, I would agree. Which I know that sounds like a joke to be like, other than the 2 home runs he gave up, it really wasn't that bad. But no, Ray's definitely right that it wasn't like a lot of those ground balls were just kind of, you know, seeing eye singles that found some grass, and you know, sucks. You live with it, but gotta kind of back down there and execute some pitches. Can't make mistakes over the heart of the plate with runners in scoring position like that. And yeah, he paid the price for a changeup that was right over the heart of the plate, a slider that was right over the heart of the plate, and that pretty much that gets you a 6-1 deficit, man. And credit to Arkansas State, man. I see Ozzy's in here. He's very upset. Let's see. How's everybody feeling? We feeling good? Is YouTube doing the thing again where it's like stupid and you guys can't hear me? That was happening to us on our show earlier today on Inside Arkansas Live, where everybody was like, "Oh, we can't hear you. Can't hear you." What's going on? Are y'all able to hear me right now? Because on my end, it's like everything's perfectly fine. Okay. Where are we at now here? We're not quite back live yet. By the way, one thing I don't know if we've talked about this yet. Carson Willis starting at DH for Arkansas today, which I love. Been in the program for a couple of years now, redshirted last year, came in as a catcher and has played catcher in some scrimmages. But at this point, I think Carson Willis is like a DH option, which is what he's doing today. And a right-handed bat off the bench. Arkansas really, if you think about this team and this roster, the one thing that I feel like is kind of missing is a right-handed bat off the bench. Unless you're just not having Damian Ruiz in the starting lineup, unless you're just not having Mike Anu in the starting lineup, if a team goes to a big-time lefty, you would like to have some guy that you could kind of counter with to maybe have a pinch hit option off the bench. Carson Willis, I'm not saying he's definitely going to be that, but giving him an opportunity to start a midweek game here, you give him a chance to maybe earn his way into that role. I love it. He swung the bat really well this offseason. Went and played at the Rocky Mountain League, which is a league you guys probably haven't heard of. I hadn't heard of it until last year. But he swung the bat really well, hit over 300 in the Rocky Mountain League, had some really good days in some scrimmages. He's homered against some of Arkansas's best pitchers. I think he may have homered against Gabe Gackle in a scrimmage this season. He homered against Steele Eves a few weeks ago. Carson Willis, made a very strong impression during some scrimmages, and good to see him getting rewarded as Kahio Aloy fouls off a 1-2 fastball above the zone. Hogs love swinging at that high fastball. They love it. Like they are addicted to it. If they could go to high fastballs anonymous, they would fit right in. Kahio Aloy gets a 1-2 breaking ball that I don't even know was a strike. And the left fielder does a good job getting to it. He's going to hold for a single. It'll be a leadoff base hit for Arkansas. All right. Let's see. Peyton, our guy from Blue Ember, says, Andrew, doesn't it always feel like Arkansas finds their way into some deficits in these early season midweek games? The one that always sticks out is that blowout UALR put on us a few years back. Yeah, I remember that. People were freaking out over that. I think they lost that game 18-8, which was crazy. I remember a couple years ago, I guess it would have been 2023, they gave Will McIntyre like a midweek start to get him back on track, and he gave up like 6 runs to UAPB. So yeah, they do run into some trouble here. I mean, the reality is, and I'm not here to do the bit about how midweek games don't count and all that. They count. But you're never throwing, you're usually throwing a freshman like Peyton Lee or some of your younger arms, and then maybe you'll have some of your veterans come in for an inning or two of relief, but you're usually kind of experimenting with whoever starts on the mound. And so, I'm sure a lot of people are going to freak out and be like, oh my God, we gave up 6 runs to Arkansas State. What does this mean? Well, what it means is that Peyton Lee's not going to pitch for you this weekend, which he probably wasn't going to pitch even if he had thrown extremely well. It doesn't really mean much moving forward. And like I said, it's kind of just the time for him to take those lumps, the time for him to get that experience. And so, it's not always kind of an indicator of what to expect consistently from your baseball squad, but they've definitely had some midweek, situations here and there. But honestly, Arkansas is better in midweek games over the last few years than most teams. And in fact, there was a stretch where Florida just like routinely was losing midweek games. They'd play a game against Jacksonville on Tuesday, they'd lose that. They'd play UAB on a Wednesday, they'd lose that. They would play North Florida, they'd lose that. Like they just went through a stretch. Even when they were going to Omaha and competing for the national title, they would just consistently lose these games on Tuesdays. Ooh, Big Country works a walk. Ump may have squeezed the pitcher just a little bit. So Arkansas's got 2 on to start the bottom of the second inning. Man, it looks like we're going to have some scoring here today. I'm now a little bit worried that this game is not going to get completed in under 3 hours. I'm starting to really get concerned that it is not going to get completed in under 3 hours. We shall see. Doesn't look like we're going to be seeing a run rule. And if we were going to see a run rule, I don't think Arkansas would be on the positive end of it. But we'll see. TJ Pompey up would, really, really like to get TJ Pompey going, if I'm being honest with you. He's another one where he's like so talented and clearly is not playing to his standard so far this season. I think he's a guy that could be, we could wind up, he might end up hitting 280 with 15 home runs And we would look back and be like, holy cow, remember when we were freaking out about TJ Pompey? But until you start to show what you got, so you got to bring your tools to the yard every day. We're just kind of left to wonder. And it sucks for some Razorback fans because, obviously us sickos, we've already researched all these guys and we know what TJ Pompey did at Texas Tech. We know how TJ Pompey is regarded as a huge prospect and all that. But if you're a Razorback fan who is your only experience with TJ Pompey has been watching him play in these games here, you're like, what the hell? Why is this guy in the lineup? What's going on here? And so, it's a tough situation, but you just got to hope this home stretch you can start to get some guys going. But he loves swinging at pitches outside of the zone, swings at another fastball out on the edge. Now he's behind 1-2. You got to show some competitiveness here, man. 1-2, fight to get that ball in play. Runners on first and second. Keep it rolling a little bit. Nope. Swings at a breaking ball off the plate and strikes out. So we will have to wait at least another hour or so for the TJ Pompey breakout. Yeah, you could. I mean, the thing with TJ that jumps out with me right now is he is so deep inside of his own head. I mean, you just see on that pitch, he didn't really commit to that swing, but he couldn't quite hold back. And he is just so, because as a hitter, you have a very big decision to make on every pitch. You either swing at it or you don't. And honestly, I would say 80% of TJ Pompey's struggles have come down to making the wrong decision on that regard right there. He swings at pitches he shouldn't swing at. He takes pitches he shouldn't take. And when you start doing that as a hitter and you start feeling that and you kind of know, oh, crap, I should have swung at that last pitch. Now you're a little bit antsy, and now you're over swinging at the next pitch. And then you're like, oh, crap, I'm being too aggressive. Let me relax a little bit. And then they throw you a breaking ball right down the middle, and you take it. And Pompey's just kind of there right now where he's in between on every swing, hasn't really been able to commit. We talked about Micah New earlier, who's, had his also had his struggles. Micah New earlier worked his way into a 3-2 count where he gets a fastball right down the middle. That's what you're praying for as a hitter, to where that one, when they throw 89 right down the middle, that helps your decision-making process. There's no debate about whether or not you should swing there. And that's when your talent starts to take over, which is what you see with Micah New to lead off this game. TJ, we just haven't been able to see him get out of his own head and really see what he can actually do. We haven't been able to see all of his tools as a baseball player. And so we'll see if that changes anytime soon. Who's that down there throwing in the bullpen? Not a Moto anymore because it looked like a righty. But it does look like 2 innings will be all for Peyton Lee based on someone up there already throwing between innings. And Zack Stewart punches out, swinging at a fastball. Located well, but again, that high fastball is just, if you want to get this Razorback team out, execute a fastball right above the zone, and I promise you they will swing and miss at it. Yeah, that was a really good, well-located one in a 1-2 count, but still, it's just kind of what this team does. They love swinging at that pitch up. All right, so who we got now? Now we got Carson Willis' first career AB as a Razorback. Wouldn't this be something? Takes one off the plate. This is another one that's tough where it's like if Carson Willis strikes out right here, you're going to see this as like Arkansas wasted an opportunity, had 2 guys up. But then it kind of comes back to the point of, so what did we learn? Okay, Carson Willis just isn't going to be in that spot this weekend. This weekend, if this is happening, this might be, Damian Ruiz here in this 9 spot. It might be Nolan Souza down in that 9 spot. It might be Micah New. But this weekend it's Carson Willis. Would love to see him go ahead and get a good swing off here. All right, he's up 3-0 now. He's up 3-0. We'll take a walk to load the bases, bring the top of the lineup up. I certainly wouldn't complain about seeing Micah New with the bases loaded. Ryan, you asked about Micah New and what's a realistic expectation for Micah New. In terms of numbers and all that, it's tough to quantify. But the thing that I think you have to hope if you're a Razorback fan and hoping what you can see out of Micah New, who's about to come up with the bases loaded, Arkansas State does not feel comfortable right now. They don't feel comfortable, which when you have the bases loaded, you're never going to feel comfortable. But 2 outs, bases loaded, and Micah New up at the plate, who just homered, that's a danger spot. And they feel it right now. We kind of feel it as a fan base where we're like, oh, man, maybe he could get a big hit here. And that ultimately is what I think you should expect out of Micah New, because he's a guy that can get unbelievably hot. I mean, I've said it 1,000 times now, but he had 15 home runs last year. 11 of his 15 home runs came in the final 13 games. And then in the Cape, he played like 30 games in the Cape. He had 8 home runs. He is a guy that, one, I think made some adjustments that kind of took his game to a new level, but he can get hot in a short amount of time. He can also go 0 for 5 of 4 strikeouts on any given day. He might have weekends where he doesn't even put a ball in play. But he is one of those guys that every now and then it just starts looking like a beach ball up there. And when he gets in that groove, he's got a lot of confidence. He's very aggressive. He's got a lot of bat speed. He can do a lot of things. And I think that is ultimately, like, in terms of what kind of player you should expect, that is what you should expect. A guy that on any given night can completely change the game with one swing, has the speed to change the game as well. Really good defender in center. Like, that's what Micah New's all about. We just haven't gotten to see a ton of the hot streaks yet. Although I think he does have 10 runs driven in this year, so he's done a pretty good job at producing runs despite not being at his peak just yet. Pitch count up to 46 now for their starter. It's a 1-0 count to New now. High fastball, 2-0. Somehow they can take that high fastball when it's not a 2-strike count. And they're doing the ball 4 chant like we're in damn College Station. Do we all agree? Does everyone in the chat agree that Arkansas should not be doing the ball 4 chant? That it's stupid? That we're just straight up taking A&M's thing? And it's pretty cool. Like, it's a cool concept, but it's like, that's A&M's thing. They blow bubbles and they chant ball 4. We don't need to be doing that at Arkansas. We've got our own set of traditions. We've got our own sets of chants. All righty, a little 3-1, 3-0 fastball gets him over. So now it's 3-1 Micah New. This is a big spot here. This is a big spot in this very game, which isn't a massive game by any means. But if this is going to be a game Arkansas comes back and wins, probably need a little something here. Takes a fastball, 3-2 now. Probably a fair take, I would say. Outside, outer third, fastball. You're looking for one pitch, one spot. All righty. Micah New rips a base hit to left field. That will score 2 runs. Ooh, actually, it's going to score 1 run because looks like Carson Willis got thrown out at third base, trying to get to third from first on a single. And at least for now, they are ruling that he got tagged out before the second run comes in. That's a tough one right there. You want to talk about things you can do to get yourself more work in the lineup? That would not be what I would do. The difference between second and third base with 2 outs is not, something to lose sleep over, not something to risk your ass over. That's a tough one right there. Not the end of the world, like I'm not going to freak out, but if Carson Willis had asked me for advice, I would have advised him not to do that. That was not a good decision. Yeah, listen, if it's 1 out and you want to, like, the difference between being on second and being on third with 1 out is pretty big because all of a sudden you can score without a hit. With 2 outs, there's no need to stretch and try and get that extra 90 feet. I see people mad at Reese Robinette for jogging home. I get it, but at the same time, once you realize the throw's not coming home, you're just going home. It's not on Reese Robinette that the redshirt freshman who's never played tried to stretch an extra 90 feet. I get it in theory of like, oh, if he would have been busting his ass right here, but that's not on Reese Robinette because the redshirt freshman DH tried to go to third with 2 outs on a ball hit to left field too. That's another thing. Like the balls, if it was to right field or something, it's a little bit different. You're forcing a long throw, but no, that's not on Reese Robinette in any way, shape, or form. All righty, so 6-2 going to the bottom of the third, and it looks like Tate McGuire will be taking the mound for Arkansas. And so we'll see what he does here. I can't imagine you would want to throw Tate much, like anything over 50 pitches, I think would be too much. But we've seen how Tate McGuire operates. He could probably get 4 innings and 40 pitches. If he's throwing the way he was throwing in Arlington, he could certainly do it. But yeah, that is very interesting. Okay. Also, they're showing the replay now. And here is Tate McGuire. First pitch, breaking ball, strike one, easy work. One thing about Tate McGuire, can fill up the damn strike zone. Last year in his innings, he had a walk rate of under 2 walks per 9 innings. I think it was like 1.8, 1.9 walks per 9 innings. That's really efficient work if you can get it. He didn't hardly walk anybody in the Cape. He did not walk a single hitter all fall. Now, I think he did walk at least one guy in spring, but like seriously, this is a guy who, for the most part, fills up the damn strike zone. And goes 0-2, gets a weak pop fly to Kojal at second base. Drifts a little bit, but he makes the play. 1 out. I just got a text from John that says Spotify is also having issues nationwide. Oh, now they're showing Carson Willis, a little combo with Dave. That's a tough one. Dave wasn't too crazy. He didn't go too over the top with it, but very much a, hey, man, what the hell are you doing type of conversation it looked like. He'll be all right. He'll be all right. Hey, first career game, you're trying to make something happen. I get it, but, learn from it. Tate McGuire filling up that damn strike zone. Right-handed big tuna, as some call him. Good 0-2 pitch, just off the plate, just low, but that's like a perfect 0-2 pitch right there. 1-2, you can live with that. You can flirt with it a little bit. Oof! Now that 1-2 pitch caught a lot of the plate. Oh my God, Kahio Aloy! Oh my God, Kahio Aloy! Oh my gosh! So Kahio Aloy quite literally falls down, and then still somehow makes the catch. Holy cow. I'm borderline impressed that he was able to make the play. He's laughing about it. That's funny. Oh, God, that was almost a disaster. The ball was hit maybe 3 feet to his right. So luckily he didn't have to travel too much, but it seems like just getting out of his break, he just slipped. Oh, man. Still makes the play, though, so we'll take it. Ooh, and Tate McGuire just gave up a solo home run. It looked like a heater that just caught too much of the plate, and Cross Jumper, who I do know Cross Jumper's name. So Cross Jumper's good. I feel like I've heard it. I don't remember if maybe I just remember him from, maybe he played at Arkansas State, played here at Baum last year, but I do remember the name Cross Jumper. And he just took Tate McGuire deep. Just gets a fastball and does some damage on it, man. Arkansas State out here putting belt to ass on the Razorbacks. How about that? That is the first base runner Tate McGuire has allowed this season. And now I'm thinking back to that Kahio Aloy fly ball, and I'm like, thank God he made that play, or else you'd be in a little bit of trouble. The next pitch is singled up the middle. Arkansas State's being aggressive at the plate, and they're making shit happen. When you're facing these guys like Tate McGuire, frankly, who you just know are going to fill up the strike zone, sometimes you can cheat a little bit, get you a little first pitch swinging. I think it was a 1-0 or 0-1. I think it was an 0-1 pitch that Cross Jumper jumped all over, but interesting. I said solo home runs won't beat you, but if you give up 2 solo home runs and a grand slam, that can beat you. Would not recommend that. Yeah, we'll see how long McGuire goes. I mean, he's going to get through this third inning here. He still has only thrown 12 pitches. But I think Arkansas might need him for a couple just to kind of settle this game down a little bit. Ooh, 0-2 pitch, just a little bit high. I see James DeCramer down in the pen. Ooh, 1-2 pitch. God, Arkansas's. We always talk about two-strike approach at the plate. Arkansas's two-strike approach on the mound has been disgusting today. Like actually borderline shameful. If they've thrown 1-1-2 pitch right down the middle, they've thrown 7. That one was just fouled back a little bit because the hitter maybe wasn't quite ready for it. But another two-strike pitch that is just center cut. That those are the type of plays that'll kill you, man. I get it. We want to fill up the strike zone, but you gotta expand a little bit with 2 strikes when you're ahead. Like that. That was a perfect 2-strike pitch. Fastball just on the outside. Maybe you get the swing. Maybe you get the call. Maybe you don't. 2-2. Now we come back with maybe that last pitch that you just threw. But man, they've left a lot of 2-strike pitches ahead in the count. And then not even just 2-strike pitches. I mean, the 0-1 changeup that Peyton Lee threw was just right down the middle as well. I believe it was an 0-1 pitch to cross jumper that we just saw get taken deep. And it's like Arkansas, their pitchers get ahead and they're just like, oh, let's just keep throwing strikes right down the middle. That'll be cool. Arkansas State's got a good squad, man. Big RPI opportunity for Arkansas here. I kid. All right, good pitch there from Tate McGuire. Finally gets the swing and miss. Now that pitch that he just threw, perfectly executed. Just below the strike zone, kind of dips right through. But Arkansas pitching has allowed 8 hits through 3 innings. Yeesh. Now you got the heart of the order coming due up. Make no mistake, Arkansas is very, very capable of just slugging their way right back into this game, and they might have to do it, man. Let's see. We'll get through a few chats here real quick. Uneasy Jafal says Pompey looks lost at the plate. I would be inclined to agree. Now, being lost at the plate and kind of going through a cold stretch, which he's definitely at, does not disqualify him from turning it on and getting hot and being a very dangerous hitter for Arkansas, who we wind up, all kind of rallying behind. But there's no doubt about it. He's going through a little something. And it's so much. I mean, this game is very mental. That's almost like the most encouraging part to me, is that it's so mental. It'd be one thing if we were just like, oh, TJ Pompey can't hit high heat, or TJ Pompey can't hit a breaking ball or something like that. Because that's something I don't think you can fix, at least not, at the SEC level. You're not just going to get better. I mean, you will get better, but it's not something you can really, if you have a hole that big. I think I'm almost encouraged by how much he's in his own head, because that actually is something you can work a little bit on. You can maybe finally, you get a pitch to hit, and now you've got a little bit of confidence. Maybe you calm down at the plate. And we see it all the time where these guys, it just takes one. You just got to see the ball go through the net a little bit. Definitely would love, and Pompey, what Pompey's going to need is a pitch similar to the one that Micah New got in the first inning, where it's just a center cut, let your talent take over, and maybe that'll get him going a little bit. But it is frustrating for sure. Few more chats here. Let's see. Camo Gang says throwing beach balls over the plate. Yeah, no, they've thrown a few. Let's see. Vid says greatest right fielder ever. Not gonna lie, never trusted Diggs in right field, but Aloy looks like he can actually catch pop flies. I think I assume this is facetious, but yeah, no. Aloy, I will say, do we all agree though? Because everybody was like freaking out leading up to the season, where they were like, "You can't play Aloy in right field." Which, like, listen, is he good out there? No, but I think we were being a little dramatic, right? Like, I saw a lot of people say stuff along the lines of like, DVH won't play you if you're bad on defense. I'm like, he played Heston Kjerstad in left field when he made like 10 errors. Nolan Souza, nice piece of opposite field hitting. He jumps on the first pitch at the bottom of the third. Good swing from Suze. Good swing. Might see Suze run a little bit. He hasn't stolen a base yet this year, but no, like Arkansas's played tons of guys who suck defensively. I mean, Casey Martin made like 30 errors at shortstop one year, but that's just kind of where Arkansas needed him. He hit second, so they rolled with it. In fact, I would say if you go back to the dawn of time in baseball, there's kind of always a guy that starts for you that you don't really trust defensively, but you need his bat. Like, there's been guys that exist like that in the big leagues forever. I mean, David Ortiz at one point used to play in the field, used to play first base. Adam Dunn used to make 30 errors a year at first base. Like, there's always been guys like that. I understand it's not ideal, but I always thought it was crazy how people were like, no, you can't have a below average defender in right field. It's like, that's a lot of people do. And he's getting better out there. It seems like he's becoming slightly more competent, which is kind of all they need. Ryder Helfrich at the dish takes an outside fastball, 1-1. I hope I don't have to pee at any point during this. Ryder Helfrich. Oof. Wow. Turns just grounds into a crisp little, I think that was a 6-4-3 double play. Wasn't hit super hard in the hole at short, but gets Souza at second, and then nice little scoop by their first baseman. So Arkansas's leadoff base hit is erased immediately. Yeah. That's a good job by their shortstop getting into that second baseman pretty quickly. Man. You guys are going to be stunned to hear this. The team that is playing better is winning this game. Here comes Camden Kojal. I feel like at this point they keep, on SEC Network or ESPN, whatever, they keep showing last year's stats, which, like, I get it. It's like a more, like a more legitimate sample size, kind of shows you, okay, what this guy's all about. But it's like we're in week 3 now. I feel like we can maybe now just kind of show what these guys' current stats are. And then, you can say, oh, well, last year he hit 15 home runs, but we're now deep enough into the season. We should get the current stats on there. Is that crazy? Let's see. Bottom third, 2 outs, 2-1 count to Kojal. Make it a 2-2 count. It's a nicely executed pitch backdoor. Looking at Arkansas State's numbers earlier today, it seems like they've been pitching better than they've been hitting. Like, I think their batting average is like 270 or something like that. Not bad or anything, but it seems like they've been winning games with their defense, ERA under 4. I can't imagine that Arkansas is going to see a bunch of their top arms the next 2 days. So you would think Arkansas should be able to kind of get something going against some of these cats, but who knows, man? Who knows? Arkansas, I will say Arkansas is swinging it pretty well in this game. I mean, the Helfrich grounding into a double play is unfortunate, but even that ball was hit okay. Souza swung the bat well in his AB. I mean, your third out last inning was on the base paths. You had another out on the base paths earlier, so you're not helping yourself, but it's not like they've been just up there getting smoked at the plate or anything. 3-2 count now to Kojal, 2 outs. Come set, and the pitch. Ball 4. Camden Kojal takes walks, has learned how to do that. Alrighty, so that'll bring up, let me think. Who's hitting 5th? Not new. Who hits 5th for the Arkansas Razorbacks? Oh, Cahillo. Forgot about that. Forgot about that guy. Boy, Cahillo's swinging it really well this year. Well, I mean, which isn't a shock. Obviously, he swung it well last year, but off to a really nice start. We didn't really get to see Cahillo play much this offseason, other than, he played a lot in the Cape. He played like 25 games out there, swung it well out there, hit over 300. But then, in the fall, was kind of coming back from mono, and then in the spring, he had his wisdom teeth taken out. Had a little bit of a little hamstring tightness. It just felt like there's always something going on with Cahillo. So, not that I say that I didn't expect him to be good during the season, but I don't know if I would have guessed that he would have hit the ground running the way he has, but some guys just know how to hit, man. Ooh, good swing there, but it ends up being a foul ball. All right, 1-2 count. Let's see that patented Kahio Aloy 2-strike approach. And he punched out. Punches out, swinging. It looked like maybe a little cut fastball, maybe a slider up in the zone. So it's 7-2. It is 7-2, and that means we are between innings. We're going to the top of the fourth. Let's get into the chat just a little bit. Let's see. I see Samuel says, is Aloy eligible to be drafted this year? He is. He is a junior this year. We'll see where his stock ends up, because I think playing outfield is huge for him to kind of show that he's at least got some type of position at the next level. I don't think he's going to be like a first rounder or anything like his brother, but Kahio is definitely going to have plenty of draft interest, and this will be his final year at Arkansas if I had to guess. Let's see. I see people agree with updating the stats on SEC Network. Love that. Not a burner wants to know, Andrew, who is your favorite professional baseball player ever? Mine is Albert Pujols. So, I don't know if I have like a definitive, like this is my guy. There were a lot that I really liked growing up. I loved Ken Griffey Jr. growing up. And he really, like, his prime was before my childhood, but he was just one of those guys that when I was like learning about baseball, going up and looking up highlights on YouTube and stuff, Ken Griffey Jr. was always one. Juan Pierre is probably not a ton of people's favorite player ever, but he's a very good player. He's from my hometown in Alexandria, Louisiana, went to the same high school as me. And so I got to meet him a few times. He came and spoke to our team a few times. And so like Juan Pierre is another guy that like way high up on my list. Consummate professional, consummate, just consistent, day in and day out, know what you're getting, overachiever. Love Juan Pierre. But if I were to take it to like my team interest, because my team's the Astros, that's my favorite. I'm Houston sports all through and through. Not the Houston Cougars, though, which people do seem to get confused. But my favorite Astro of all time, it's got to be Jose Altuve. I do love Justin Verlander. I have a Justin Verlander jersey. I actually also have a Carlos Correa jersey. But Altuve might be the GOAT Astro, honestly. Jeff Bagwell was the man growing up. Lance Berkman, I loved him. Craig Biggio. Some of my buddies were at Craig Biggio's 3,000th hit. That was cool. But Altuve, I think, is my favorite Astro ever, for sure. All righty, let's see what we got going on in this fourth inning. Well, we got a ground out on the second pitch of the inning to Nolan Souza over there. Let me see if I can rewind, get a look at this one here, see what it looked like. This is a 1-0 pitch. Breaking ball down and away. Yeah, good job. Good stuff all around. All righty. Just go ahead and fill up that strike zone, Tate. This leadoff hitter's batting stance is absolutely insane, isn't it? Now, he's the one who had the grand slam, jumped all over that Peyton Lee slider, holds that bat way down low. Speaking of Jeff Bagwell, it's a little Jeff Bagwell-y, if I'm being honest with you, other than just the squat. But holding that bat down low is crazy. I mean, hey, hitters are weird though, man. Whatever works, if you can get the barrel to the ball, I don't care how you hold it, but man, that's an interesting one. Strikes out, swinging at a breaking ball in the dirt. Well executed pitch from Tate McGuire. Love to see it. Yeah, I think if you can get through, so Tate's at 24 pitches right now with 2 outs in the fourth. If he can get this other out under 30 pitches, maybe 3 or 4 pitches, get another out, I'd probably throw him out there for one more. I know that sounds crazy to throw one of your best arms 3 innings in a game like this, but if he's under 50 pitches, I think he'll be fine to come back Saturday, maybe even Sunday, maybe even Friday. But definitely, like I think if he throws 46 pitches, I think he could definitely be back Saturday for Arkansas, and that might be the move. All right. Oh my gosh, is this ball going to get out? Sure enough, 2-hole hitter for Arkansas State just hits one up, and it looks I don't know which direction the wind is blowing. I saw someone ask about that. I'm guessing this one got a little bit of help from the wind. I did not think it was getting out off the bat, but just sneaks out over right field. Now it's an 8-2 game. Boy, the long balls are the story of this one. Has there been a run? I guess Micah New drove in that one run on a base hit. There haven't been any. Am I tripping? Is it like almost every run in this game been via the long ball? Jeez. So Tate McGuire's now giving up a couple. Gets strike one on the breaking ball to the next guy. But man, today is not the day. The ballpark's playing small. This is not the day to be filling up the strike zone, I guess. All right, quickly ahead, 0-2 now. Geez, 8 runs. Let's do some quick maths right here. Arkansas gave up 2 runs opening night. They gave up 5 runs to TCU. Does that sound right? And then 5 to Texas Tech. And then 1 to Tarleton. Arkansas hadn't given up 8 runs in a game all year, or even really all that close to it. They've given up 8 and 3 2/3. Yikes. Another 1-2 breaking ball that was just right down Broadway, it seems. Yeah, this is kind of effed up for them to play like this while we're doing a Baumbastic Watchalong. Like, what the hell? Who asked for this? I'm now even more confident that this game is not going to get done before 6 o'clock. And I don't know what I'm going to do, because I think my fiance will literally kick my ass if I'm not on this call for the wedding photographer. Fighting him at the plate. Oh, geez. So the whole plan of getting Tate McGuire 3 innings under 50 pitches is starting to go awry. We'll have to alter things up a little bit. All right, 2-2 count coming. Ball low. Man. Am I the only one surprised that Arkansas State is good at baseball? I know Curtis was saying he used to go to some games, and he said they were good back in the day. I don't remember any years. Maybe I'm just tripping. Like, that I can really remember a recent memory where Arkansas State was like nasty in baseball. Has this happened before? Were y'all aware of this? Oh, but man, dude, the fan base is probably going to go crazy. They hate losing to in-state opponents, which I understand. I remember folks were calling for Dave's job when they lost that game to Little Rock back in the day. That shit was crazy. But yes, I still think you still roll with the same plan of, like, you're going to throw all your veteran arms in this game. Like, I think McIlvain would probably be one of those top guys up. I think Kersher probably throws in this game, maybe Dossett. But there's a lot of innings of work left. And Tate McGuire, gets a punch out. Okay. So Tate McGuire gets a punch out, little pitch at the bottom of the zone. He's shaking his head. Not happy about that. The little wind-aided home run. So he throws 37 pitches through 2 innings. We'll see if he comes back out for another inning of work, but definitely not probably how they saw this going. All righty. Let's see. And so, speaking of Arkansas State, Caleb Morris says they finally got some funding and a commitment for a nice player development building. Interesting. I guess I did not know about this. I knew Little Rock was starting to level up, and like Little Rock has really, made some strides here. Chris Curry's doing a tremendous job over there. Was not aware that Arkansas State has got them a new little facility, but good for them, though. That's awesome. I love to see that. And obviously, I wish they weren't whipping Arkansas's ass right now, but, we shall see. Sam says, when's the wedding? August 15th is going to be a very small ceremony, so you guys are not invited. But, August 15th, we will be getting married in the great city of Arkadelphia, Arkansas. How about that? And then Butcher Boy says, at this rate, Andrew, we're going to get run ruled by 5:30. Yeah, shit, that might just have to be the move. Maybe that's how we get this thing done in under 3 hours. Very interesting. Let's see. Ben says 4 homers to this team through 4 innings is embarrassing, TBH. Coming in, they only had 11 through 7 games. Yeah, well, 11 through 7 is like a pretty solid. And so I think that's pretty solid power. I think Arkansas has 13. And Arkansas is like one of the better, got a ton of power on their team. But yeah, it's definitely still embarrassing to give up 8 runs to little brother in 4 innings of work for sure, especially when 2 of those innings were pitched by one of your dudes. I mean, Tate McGuire. Now he did just give up 2 solo home runs, but yeah, I'm not at Baum, so I don't know what the wind direction's looking like, but it certainly seems like it's the park is playing pretty small. Sharkansas with some great advice here. He says, if I was Arkansas, I would simply not throw waist-high meatballs as a pitcher, and if I was a hitter, I would hit home runs. Yeah, no, that's fair for sure. It's crazy. Let's see. Sam says, this guy is one of our weekend guys. If so, we are in trouble this season. Well, he's like a guy that will pitch on the weekends. He's not a weekend starter necessarily, although prior to like 10 minutes ago, everyone was, acting like it was a travesty that he wasn't the Saturday starter. But no, I mean, he threw 5 perfect innings against TCU. Like and he's not even throwing poorly today. He's just giving up a couple home runs, one of which was very wind-aided. But no, Tate McGuire is a solid people. That is definitely not like the correct way to view this of like Tate McGuire sucks. He gave up a couple home runs, wind blowing out. He'll be all right. All right, what happened on this first out? I missed it. But it looks like TJ Pompey's up at the plate now and has some issue with his helmet. Let's see what happened here. Reese Robinette hit a fly out to center field is what I'm determining. And it looks like TJ Pompey is going down swinging at an 0-2 pitch that was nowhere near the zone. Man, dude, I mean, listen. I'm a big proponent of like you can't judge someone on their worst day, but you also can't judge them on their best day. The answer is probably somewhere in between. But I think we could all agree TJ Pompey probably needs like a little reset, needs a little bit of a day where he hangs out with DVH and just has to kind of figure out what's going on here because it has not looked pretty at the plate thus far. 2 quick outs there in the 4th inning. That was a 3-pitch strikeout. Now we got Zack Stewart at the plate. You know how bad it is. Arkansas is calling an offensive timeout to get a little extra word in with Stewart. Yuck. Yeah. I see I see a lot of Pompey is a bust. Pompey's a waste of money. I mean, listen, it's very early for like that. I don't think Arkansas should give up on him altogether. Like they're going to need him. They're going to need him to give them something. But yeah, right now he's clearly he's not there. Like he is just not. He is not showing up. He is not bringing his tools to the park. He just is not himself. And we can have a question about even the peak version of TJ Pompey, is it going to be good enough to be what Arkansas needs or whatever? I mean, listen, he's hitting 7, 8, 9 in the lineup. It's not like they're going to need him to hit 320 with 20 home runs. They just need a little bit of a threat down there, which bare minimum you'd imagine he should be. But who knows? Maybe just coming off injury, just all inside his own head. But yeah, he needs a reset for sure. All right, Zack Stewart in a 2-1 count now. It's so funny. Zack Stewart, and listen, Zack Stewart's a solid player. Like, that was a nice little pickup for Arkansas, which, hold the phone. 2-1 pitch. Oof. Zack Stewart puts it on top of the performance facility. That looked like either a breaking ball or a changeup that was kind of down and in, but over the heart of the plate. That is the sweet spot for lefties right there. And that is a good swing. That is a good, encouraging swing to see. Zack Stewart cuts into the lead a little bit, makes it a just like that. It is a 5-run game. But no, nice little swing from Zack Stewart, who's now got 2 home runs in his he started 3 games, one of which he only got 1 at bat. And then each of his last 2 games got a little home run, bringing a little bit of pop, Zack Stewart's a guy that's going to strike out a little bit, but that's now 46 career home runs. Oh, yeah. It looked like a changeup that just kind of hung out, and he was on it. He was ready. Love to see that. But no, Zack Stewart, he's going to be a guy that definitely strikes out a lot. It's just kind of, what he does. I think he struck out like 64 times last year at Missouri State, but he also hit 21 home runs a couple years ago. Hit 11 home runs last year. He's got 2 home runs so far. Arkansas's going to have to get him some ABs for sure, as Carson Willis grounds one softly to third base, and that will end the inning. So it's 8-3 going to the 5th inning, and we'll see if that gets everybody going a little bit. I wonder if they'll maybe put Brumball in as a defensive, like a replacement at some point during this game. Maybe get him a pinch hit AB or something. Very interesting. I see Vince from me says, how is Stewart not getting ABs like Junior should? We let TJ go 1, 2, 3. Well, he's started the last 2 games. I mean, he's getting ABs and he's making the most of it. He's doing a good job. But I mean, I guess what do you think they should like bench Ruiz for him full time? Maybe they do. Ruiz has been good, but I don't think it was like this like great travesty that Zack Stewart wasn't getting a ton of ABs. I just think like, you're going to bench Ruiz, you're going to bench Micah New, you're going to bench Kahio Aloy. Souza's been starting to DH a lot. Now he's playing third base today. If Souza can for sure play the field, which by the way, we're talking about TJ Pompey kind of having a little bit of struggle here. Maybe Souza can play third base more consistently. And now so that could maybe open up a spot for Stewart at DH. But I mean, Stewart's a guy that hit like 260 last year at Missouri State. To act like it was like this thing where Stewart was like this can't miss, he's got to be in the lineup every day. That's not really an accurate reflection of reality, but he's making the most of his opportunities, and I imagine he'll get some more. I don't really see like the controversy going on here. And then T Razorback says, why not play Stewart and Ruiz and DH Kahio and play Souza in the field? So they will most likely experiment with something like that. I think it would probably be Stewart at DH just because I think they want to kind of give Kahio his kind of opportunity to play right field. But I do think it's very possible if Souza can play the field. To answer the question, though, Souza coming into the season, he's coming back from injury and the arm wasn't quite there yet. They weren't super confident that he was going to be able to, that he was going to be able to throw consistently. Him getting a start at third base today and doing a good job is a good sign. He's going to get closer and closer to being 100%. As he gets closer and closer to 100%, him playing the field is more and more likely. And so they're going to experiment a little bit. And then he follows up and says, bench Brumball. Brumball's quite literally not in the lineup today. Quite literally is not in the lineup today. And Zack Stewart is in the lineup. So it's like, why are we bitching that Zack Stewart's not in the lineup when he's in the lineup and has been for the last 2 games? We're bitching about Brumball being in the lineup and he's not even in it. Like, what are we talking about here? Jeez. But in other news, Ethan McIlvain is on the bump. Big, you know what I'm talking about? We call Reese Robinette big country. Reese Robinette might be medium country now because Ethan McIlvain is big country. Saw him walking around the hotel in Arlington with the biggest cowboy boots I think I've ever seen. You could hear that sucker walking from 400 feet away. Clunk, clunk, clunk. Got them like size 19 cowboy boots, them steppers. He threw the ball extremely well against Tarleton, 2 2/3. If he's in the strike zone, man, he's dangerous. Getting swings and misses. Let's see. All right, 1-2 count. Make something happen here. Threes. God, I wish they had the radar gun anywhere around here. Like, just show us at least something. I assume he's throwing pretty hard. I'd imagine mid-90s if I had to guess. We've seen him get it up there as high as 98 before. 2-2, foul off. Yeah, McIlvain, I feel like, is a guy, if you can really get him rolling, I think he's like a really solid setup option. 7th, 8th inning, come in and maybe you got like a left, right, left situation. He can come in and just get you a nice little inning. He's going to miss a ton of bats. Oof. Man, but shout out Zack Stewart, man. Making the most of his opportunities. This kid's fouled off like multiple pitches off of his own person. 2-2 coming again. Another foul ball. Well, how would y'all grade the handlebar mustache here from McIlvain? Pretty solid, B plus maybe. I think it works. Fastball just out. Oh, we got some metrics on that Zack Stewart home run. 414 feet to right, 110 miles an hour, 28.7 degree launch angle. That is squared up right there, 110 off the bat. Another foul ball. Geez, we're looking at least a 10-pitch AB here. Full count. Boy, Arkansas say, oh, I see 95 on the board. So we got at least some context. Who knows how accurate the board is today, but at least according to one source, mid-90s fastball from Ethan McIlvain. All right, he ends in a punch out. Looks like an elevated fastball right about that, probably 95, 96 mile an hour range. A very important strike one, or out number one. It's a good little AB there, man. Arkansas State's tough. They're making Arkansas fight, man. Making them dig deep. This would be the first home loss of the season for Arkansas. They would fall to 3-1. Will end their bid for an undefeated home season at Baum. Tragic. Strike one. Yeah, left here for McIlvain against their DH, Aiden Houseworth, who has one of, I guess he hit the home run. He hit the changeup that Peyton Lee threw, hit that first home run to left center field, got them on the board, which at that point really didn't seem like that big of a deal, but it turned out to be kind of indicative of what kind of day we were going to have here at Baum-Walker. Slider misses, 2-1. Let's see what we got going on in the chat. Good pitch there to make it 2-2 at the knees, outside corner. I'd be so pissed if I was playing for Arkansas State and Arkansas brings this dude out on the mound. Because like in a midweek game on a Tuesday at 4 p.m., you're just not expecting to see 96 from the left side. It's just not what you usually are seeing there, especially as a left-handed hitter. That's brutal. Fouls went off, though, 2-2. A lot of pitches here early for McIlvain, which kind of sucks. But he's got 2 punch-outs, gets another one. Almost the exact same location as the first strikeout, just gets into a 2-strike count, puts that fastball just right at the top of the zone. And by the way, that fastball, I mean, it's mid-90s. It's not like it's flat either. There's a lot of movement, a lot of life on that fastball. When he's locating it well, like locating it the way he is right now, that's dangerous right there. Sometimes people get confused where you see a guy throw a fastball right down the middle and it gets hit, and the reaction is, oh, so he must be throwing a flat fastball. His fastball must not have very much movement on it. Well, no, if you throw it right down the middle, I don't care how much movement it had. If you throw it right down the middle, a decent swing is going to get the barrel to it. All righty, a little soft pop up to Pompey at shortstop. That'll end the inning. 18 pitches there, so a little bit more than you'd like, but good stuff there from McIlvain. We'll see if he gets another inning, but continues a really, really strong start to the season for him. And Arkansas needed a 0 right there, man. Let's see what you jokers are in here talking about. Not a burner says, why does Vandy keep letting us steal their best players? Well, to be fair, McIlvain did not have a great sophomore season at Vanderbilt. It was very up and down. He was great as a freshman. I think he had like an ERA in like the mid threes as a freshman. He was like a freshman all SEC guy. He was a big prospect. And so they kind of had high hopes for him. They started him in the weekend rotation and it did not go well at all. Not ready to be a starting pitcher. Then he started kind of giving them some better bullpen outings, but he had like a 7 ERA last year at Vanderbilt. But yeah, I don't know what the situation was there. I don't know what the situation was with Camden Kojal, but I'm sure glad they're Razorbacks. Texas Tech as well, although obviously TJ Pompey has not turned out to be a huge hit, but I mean, Arkansas's had 3 or 4 Red Raiders here in the last few years. Let's see. Is that true? Ben says that was the first 0, or after the first inning, that's our first 0. Okay. So 2 out of 5. Still not great. Let's see. Samuel says, what do you think we are better at and worse at compared to last year? I think one of the biggest differences in terms of the offensive production, I think last year's lineup is kind of the standard because that was about as good of a lineup as you've ever seen at Arkansas. You could maybe point to, 2018, they had a good lineup. I'm sure you could go back to like 1979 or maybe find 2 or 3 that are comparable. But last year's lineup was about as good as you'll see in college baseball, to be honest with you. I don't think Arkansas is going to be very far off of that pace, especially from a power standpoint. But what was huge for last year's team is you had Charles Davlon in the leadoff spot and Logan Maxwell in the 3 spot. Neither of those guys struck out like hardly at all. I think Logan Maxwell struck out 34 times. Charles Davlon struck out 27 times. Over the course of 65 games, you have 2 guys like that in the middle of the lineup. It really helps. And Arkansas just doesn't have those kinds of skill sets. Like someone like Micah News, someone like Nolan Souza. I think both those guys are going to hit, do a lot of damage, and be very, very good players for Arkansas. But both those guys swing and miss a lot. Kahio Aloy swings and misses a lot. Ryder Helfrich, Camden Kojal swings and misses a lot. Like, they just don't really have that kind of mix of skill sets in the lineup that I think you would like to see, and that's why the strikeout numbers are as crazy as they are right now. But I do think on the mound, at least so far, Arkansas's got a nice little situation going. I mean, you think back to this time last year. I know Arkansas ended up being pretty good on the mound, but like this time last year, Gabe Gackle was still in the weekend rotation, and it wasn't going super well. Gage Wood had just gone down with injury, and Arkansas was able to piece it together okay. I think Arkansas's pitching staff roles are in a better spot as it stands right now. Now we'll see what they do in terms of closing outside of Gibbler, but I think Gibbler is pitching at a really high level as their kind of ace reliever. You're getting really good production, obviously, out of Colin Fisher in your Sunday role. Gackle is much, much better. I mean, he was the Friday guy last year. He's the Friday guy this year. He's doing a lot better than he was this time last year. And then Dietz, I think, is starting to kind of show you some signs and piece it together. But I think overall, the pitching is a little bit ahead right now compared to where they were last year. But we'll see where they end up, man. Definitely got to get some of these guys at the bottom of the lineup going. But I pulled the numbers up the other day. It's not like it was 1 through 9 just shoving and, hitting the ball well at this time last year. So we'll see. But it's tough to compare because we know what Arkansas finished up at last year, but we don't know what they're going to finish up at this year. And so it's like, You can't really compare what they're doing right now to how they finished last year. Through 7 games, they're kind of pretty comparable across the board. Ooh, good play by their shortstop to rob Nolan Souza of a hit. That was a tough one. Arkansas 2 quick outs there in the bottom of the 5th. Not what you want. Not what you want. So Ryder Helfrich comes up with 2 outs. What did New do? New struck out looking, and Souza grounds out early in his AB. Let's see. What time are we looking at here now? 4:36. And we're in the bottom of the 5th. Yeah, we might get done with this sucker before 6, but we'll see. Knock on wood. Oof. Helfrich just swung at a ball that bounced in the other batter's box. He didn't really fully swing, but it's one where he's gonna be kicking himself a little bit for that one. Pitcher throws the exact same pitch just to make sure. He's like, oh, if I can get swings and misses on that pitch, might as well throw it again, huh? Oof. Is this gonna stay fair? I have no idea. Is that a fair ball? Ah. I'm not listening to the audio. Ryder Helfrich just hit a ball about 400 feet that I guess was foul. Oof. I got a breaking ball over the heart of the plate and did not miss it, but I just couldn't quite keep it fair. I think this dude's thrown like 5 or 6 breaking balls to Ryder Helfrich here. Two count still. Hey, great take there from Helfrich. Great take. Runs the count full. I'd say that's if we're talking about things that this Razorback lineup can realistically do to, take their game to another level. You're not just going to magically stop striking out. Like the way these guys swing and the way these guys, have performed in their careers, you're not just going to magically, cut down on all the swing and miss, especially since you're about to get into SEC play where you're going to face some really good stuff. But these kind of ABs right here where Helfrich's working it deep, and it's 3-2, he might end up striking out here, but taking some of those close 2-strike pitches, fouling off some of those breaking balls in the zone to 2 strikes, like just kind of fighting at the plate is something you can always improve on. And I think you've got to start taking some more walks if you're the Razorbacks, because I think just the way they play, you kind of have a boomer bust mentality to the way you swing, the way you play at the plate. You have to mix in some walks there, man. It can't be all one, solo home runs, 2-run home runs. You've got to have some, maybe a walk and a hit and then that big swing. Helfrich hits another foul ball home run. This is a great AB, though. I don't know what it's going to end up at. I mean, it's been a 3-2 count for a while here, but he ended up working about 12, 13 pitches in this at-bat. Well, definitely, these are the kind of things you just need guys to buy in and string together these kinds of ABs. Makes you just more dangerous. If Kojal comes up to bat in this inning, pop fly, looks like he will not. Well, this might end up getting out of play. Yeah, got out of play. Okay, another foul ball. But, regardless of what happens here, this is with 2 outs, so Kojal might not come up. But, if there were 1 out right here and this AB were happening, regardless of what happens, Camden Kojal is going to face a depleted version of that pitcher. This takes a lot out of you. About to throw your 11th pitch of the AB here and throw into a hitter like Ryder Helfrich. That's a lot of high stress. If you can get him in the stretch too, that makes him work a little bit more. You need these guys. It's not all about what damage guys do at the plate when they're up there. It's how are you kind of taken out of that pitcher and soften him up for the next guy. And then you kind of have that team mentality. And by the way, Helfrich ends up taking a breaking ball out for a walk. That right there is picture, I would play that in front of the team tomorrow or Thursday going into the weekend and be like, these are the kinds of ABs you need from your best players. And like I said, it's not like Helfrich's not going to strike out. He's going to strike out a ton. Camden Kojal, he's going to strike out. But he had a really good AB to work a walk earlier. Same with Nolan Souza. We know he's capable of doing stuff like that. That can be the kind of stuff that can take this lineup to a little bit of a different level. And the more you walk, the more these pitchers will eventually kind of give in and have to give you pitches to hit. The more you walk, those solo home runs turn into 3-run home runs. That pitchers, maybe you're getting into the bullpen a little bit earlier. All good things. All good things. Yeah, it looked like Arkansas was about to have a quick inning right here because, you had Micah New strikes out on 4 pitches, and I think Nolan Souza hit either the first or second pitch of his AB, and he hit it hard, but wound up being 2 quick outs in about 6 pitches. Now it's ended up being about a 20-pitch inning. Oof. Ooh, hard hit ball for Camden Kojal, but the first baseman snags it. Arkansas goes scoreless, and so it remains an 8-3 game. We'll see if Arkansas is able to kind of string together some legitimate success here. I see Butcher Boy saying bunting with 2 outs. Yeah, I'm assuming that means the third baseman had to have been playing far back. I'm assuming against a left-handed hitter, they were shifted pretty aggressively. It's not like a sacrifice bunt attempt there. Let's see. Yeah, Papa Dragon says Helfrich would have had 30 home runs last year at the foul line, was 5 foot further left. He had several balls last year where it would be like 110 miles an hour off the bat, but foul. He had so many foul ball home runs. Almost too much bat speed there. Love that one. Yeah. Can anyone give me an update on what the wind is doing? Like, is it blowing out to right, blowing out to left, kind of right to left? Like, what are we looking at here? Because like that ball that Zack Stewart hit out over right field, that was going to get out no matter what the wind did. He hit it 110 and 414 feet. Like that was going to go out no matter what. Interesting. Our guy Lane Hedge, one of our trusted members here, official members of the Baumbastic Podcast, says it hurts seeing guys I went to college with playing well for A-State. I'm going to hear it from them if we don't put some more runs on the board. So let's get it going. How about that? Some of your college buddies. Let's see. I see Gage says, has New hit a ball opposite field yet this year? And I see someone right after him says that home run that he hit in Arlington was opposite field, which it was. He doesn't hit many ground balls to the opposite field, which, by the way, this is a great time to have this conversation. You see the way defenders will shift a lot of times. They are shifting based on what your batted ground balls, where they go. And so against Micah New, you're going to see guys shift a lot to the left side of the infield, and he may hit a home run to right center field. That has nothing to do with the shift. If you hit a home run, it doesn't matter what your infield's doing. But yeah, you'll start to see those shifts because he's not going to hit too many ground balls through the right side. But at the end of the day, you also, you as a hitter, you have that, you hold that right to adjust. We saw Kahio Aloy just the other day. They shifted like crazy against him. He just hits about a 65-mile-an-hour ground ball through the right side. And so we'll see if New's able to get some of those opportunities with his speed. I would like to see him maybe incorporate some of that. But, has not hit much to the opposite field yet this year. He will hit home runs, Oppo. He has a lot of opposite field power. But again, that's a little bit different. Hitting the ball in the air versus on the ground, a little bit different. Would love to see him maybe beat the shift a few times, and I think he'll have that opportunity during conference play. Paddlefish says, which hog has the best chance to win the Golden Spikes this season? I think it's got to be Ryder Helfrich, mostly just because of the respect he's built up of just being a name in college baseball for a couple years now. Huge prospect, which always helps. And he does a little bit of everything. I mean, he's calling pitches for the pitching staff, doing a great job behind the plate, and he's one of Arkansas's best hitters. I think he's going to end up having a pretty nice little case, when it's all said and done. But we shall see. We shall see. Anna Stevens says that Phil just said several players are not at the ballpark due to illness, which is interesting to me. I mean, it is that kind of that time of year. I've been battling the sniffles a little bit myself. Interesting. Interesting. I wonder which players are not at the field. All righty. We got one quick out for Ethan McIlvaine. Let me see how this sucker happened. Had a ground out on the third pitch of the inning, so nice little start after throwing a ton of pitches to start his frame last inning. Would love to see him get through this second inning fairly quickly, although I think this will probably be it for him no matter what. McIlvaine would definitely, especially with the way he's throwing right now, would definitely be a guy. I see Hunter Dietz, I see Damian Ruiz, I see Carson Brumball, so check them off the list. They are safe from the illness. Damian Ruiz looks perfectly fine, by the way. I can't see his leg, but he didn't seem like a guy who's nursing a really bad injury that's going to keep him out forever. Hmm. 2-2 count now for McIlvaine. Oof, just missed off the edge of the plate. Who would have thought that Ethan McIlvaine would display the best command of the Razorback pitchers today? Of course, I say that, then he issues a walk. Okay, so 1 on, 1 out now for McIlvaine. Still in the top of the sixth, 8-3. How's my score bug looking? Does it look good there? Yeah, it looks good. Looks good. Yeah, so now I'm kind of we get the update says several pitchers and a few position players. Now I'm curious because I wonder if that affects things. Like if Jackson Kershaw is one of those guys, you got a stolen base there. Looked like Helfrich couldn't get it out of his glove. Ends up being a swing and miss and stolen base. Helfrich's patting himself on the chest because I think he knows if he gets that ball out of his glove, he's probably got that guy out easily. But okay, Arkansas State putting some more pressure on Arkansas. Just doing the damn thing. Good pitch right there. 0-2 count. We'll see if he's able to put him away here. Yeah, he kind of double clutched a little bit. And if he doesn't double clutch, it's probably just in time. Did have a good jump there from Torres. Oof. Close 0-2 pitch. Last year, Ethan McIlvaine, for all his struggles, and he did struggle. He had a lot of struggles. He walked like pretty much a guy per inning last year. His slider, I once read, had like a 47% whiff rate, meaning almost half of the sliders he threw, period, were swung on and missed. Pretty unreal rate there from Ethan McIlvaine. That slider, the fastball is really electric. That's what he's been getting his strikeouts with today. That slider to lefties. And there was the big breaking ball. I don't know if I've ever seen that from him. Uncle Chuck has made an appearance here. 2-2 count now for McIlvaine after being up 0-2. First base is open, but I think I'd prefer to go ahead and strike this kid out. Foul ball. I'm going to be actually really mad if Arkansas winds up with only 4 runs, 5 runs. I feel like there at least has to be a moment where we're like, oh, wow, Arkansas's maybe going to win this game. Like get the tying run of the plate, something like that. Ground ball. Great play from Nolan Souza at third base. Love to see that. It was a ground ball hit pretty softly towards the left side, kind of too far over for McIlvaine to get to it. Nolan Souza had to charge in pretty quickly, make a quick throw. Looked solid on that play. Souza, Souza got some starts at third base as a freshman. He DH'd mostly, but he did get some starts in midweek games. Matter of fact, this is a fun fact for y'all. I hope I'm right on this. I believe the last game that Nolan Souza started at third base was a midweek game against San Jose State, which happened to be the same day as John Calipari's introductory press conference at Arkansas. Oof. Foul ball, well hit ball. Made me a little nervous there off the bat. So the runner moves up to third, by the way, on that second out. That's a good sign there from Nolan Souza. I don't know how badly that shoulder's hurting. He might be in, horrible pain, wrenching pain right now, but he's holding it together okay. Looks okay. This dude with this batting stance. Oof. Blows a fastball by him. Sheesh, he might have got away with one right there. That looked borderline center cut, but when you throw 96, sometimes you can get away with that kind of stuff. Fastball low, 1-2. Pitch count getting up right around 40 for McIlvain. And so, yeah, I definitely think this will be his last inning of work, or at least should be. Have him ready to roll for the weekend. Good job staying alive there by the hitter. These boys are tough, man. Ashton Quiller. All right, a 1-2 count. Ground ball, Kojal, 4-3 put out, inning over. Okay. I believe that was exactly 39 pitches for Ethan McIlvain. Works around some trouble. And, overall good stuff from Ethan McIlvain for his 2 innings of work. I think he had, 3 strikeouts, somewhere around there. Had the 1 walk, didn't allow a hit. Good stuff from Ethan McIlvain. I'm excited to see him get some outings on the weekend. He's definitely a weekend caliber pitcher. I think we all agree about that from a stuff standpoint for sure. But I think also him not throwing on the weekends so far is not because they don't believe in him. It's just kind of, haven't been many situations, haven't been a ton of games where Arkansas, goes to, veteran guys in a high leverage situation. I see David says, do we go to a young arm now? So now I'm wondering, it depends on who's available. Personally, I would like to see Jackson Kersher throw. I would like to see Cooper Dossett throw. Maybe if you were going to go to a young arm, it'd maybe be Mark Brissy, but I would like to see a couple more older guys throw, but I don't know who's available. I don't know who all has been battling this here sickness here. Let's see. Born to be a Hog says, next time he plays, look at Brumball. He looks like a young, pouty Elvis. This is not the craziest comment I've heard. I kind of actually see the vision. Got a little bit of the underbite going. He looks a little Elvis-y. This is not a bad take. Not a bad take. Yeah, Ben says, I will say the number of 0-2 hit batters we've had so far this season is a little alarming. Yeah, you obviously don't want to do it. I also, now this is just, my law of averages brain working here, where I just kind of also think that's just a fluke thing. I don't think that's a part of this team's identity that they're going to hit guys in 0-2 counts. If anything, I'm more concerned about the amount of 0-2 pitches they've left center cut, honestly, that have gotten them in trouble today. But yeah, definitely. Lee's done it a few times. I feel like maybe Gackle the other day hit somebody 0-2. There's been some situations where Arkansas has done some stuff like that. And my guy Robert Hurst says, let's bat around. I like the sound of that. Let's get some stuff going here. Got Kahio Aloy leading it off. Looks like a new arm on the mound. A very slightly build. Very, very, very tiny fella out there on the bump. But also when you're coming off the bump after Ethan McIlvain just threw, anyone, I guess, is going to look small. Throwing that little 3/4 delivery out there. I like it. Also, how cold is it? It's 5'11". I don't know if I believe that. Kahio Aloy. Oh, he tried to do what we were just talking about, beat that shift, but the first baseman was able to get to it. Tried to sneak a little ground ball through the shift, but a little bit too far right. All righty, big country. All righty, big country. Yeah, they said that boy was 5'11", 165. I don't know, Chief. Big country hits a ground ball left side, and he's out. So 2 outs on 4 pitches. When we said bat around, this is not what we meant. But, whatever. I mean, shit, man. I was worried about this game going past 6. I don't know. I shouldn't speak. I shouldn't be saying anything crazy. This is offensive timeout number 2 of the day, where Arkansas's had 2 quick outs. Just needed a little talking over a little bit, break up the rhythm. And let's get TJ Pompey going. How about that? Does that sound like a plan? I'm going full, I hope y'all are still able to hear me. I'm going full screen on my broadcast because I don't want the stat broadcast to spoil things for me here, in case we get that TJ Pompey first home run as a Razorback thing going on here. But okay, bottom 6, 2 out. Mighty TJ is up at the plate. Mighty TJ at the bat. Oh, geez. I was talking earlier about the stats, and I was like, quit showing last year's stats. For TJ Pompey, just show last year's stats. We're better with that. Strike 1. I mean, this shouldn't be a huge, swing and miss situation here with this arm at the plate, I wouldn't think. Well, he swings through a breaking ball. 0-2. I stand corrected. All right, takes one out. 1-2. Yeah, anytime you're in a slump like this, it just feels like every count's 0-2. Feels like every time he's up there, just immediately. All right, fouls one off to stay alive. 1-2. Let's try to hit the ball to right field. Let's let this sucker travel. Let's go the other way with it. Let's get back to the basics. The unselfish ABs. That's what we need here. Well, he did hit the ball the other way, but it was on a ball that was up and in that should have been ball 2. So the good news is TJ Pompey puts the ball in play. The bad news is Arkansas is retired in order. We're going to the 7th inning. Arkansas has 6 hits, 3 runs, and they trail 8-3. And Cooper Dossett is on the mound. There we go. Cooper Dossett's on the mound. I see a comment here from Solo. He says, "Hey, Andrew, any update on Carson Wiggins?" So it depends on when you were when was the last information you heard on Carson Wiggins? The last I have seen from Carson Wiggins was I saw him throwing a baseball in Arlington. Now, he wasn't throwing a bullpen, wasn't throwing from a mound or anything. It was just a very light, flat ground, long toss type of thing. But he was throwing a baseball in Arlington, looked fine doing it. I mean, he was just kind of playing catch, nothing crazy. I had heard right before the season that he did throw from a mound. Now, it wasn't like a full-on 30, 40-pitch bullpen. I think it was only just a handful of pitches. I was told that he did throw from a mound within the last few weeks. Now, there is a lot that has to happen from starting to kind of play catch consistently, maybe even starting to throw on the mound behind closed doors. There's still a lot that has to happen before he would make his season debut. The timeline we've kind of heard a bunch was May is about the target date for when they might could have him available. And I think that should probably still be the target unless we are told otherwise. And we very well could. They may come back in 2 weeks and say, hey, he's actually trending extremely positively. we might get him back by the 1st of April, in which case, awesome. We'll be happy for it. But I like me personally, I don't think you should be trying to rush this thing at all. I think if he can come back and pitch in May, get a few weeks of SEC, innings under his belt, and then hit the ground running, maybe get him 2 or 3 innings in Hoover, and then you go into the NCAA tournament with like this kind of weapon in your back pocket. I think that would be awesome. But I think Hog fans need to understand the situation here. They're like, this isn't one of those, what is the earliest date we could have him? All right, let's throw him out there. You got to be smart. You got to be cautious with this. But it does seem like things are progressing fairly well. Now, knock on wood, I haven't been around him every day. I don't know what's going on. Who knows? Again, there's a lot that has to happen as he kind of ramps up. But it does seem like things are at least trending in a good direction. Hopefully he's able to throw a baseball here for the Pig fairly soon. All right, so Cooper Dossett making his first outing since that outing that did not go well for him in Arlington, just could not find the strike zone. The command was all over the place. We saw that a little bit from him in the fall when he was kind of working. The fastball's been electric, man. Would love to see him have a good outing here. Fastball high, ball 1 to start. Dossett could absolutely help Arkansas at the back end of the bullpen. He's got electric stuff, older guy, hard worker, blue collar. But man, coming back from Tommy John, it's always tough. You see guys really struggle with the command because you're kind of working so hard to get back that you're just kind of ramping the process up, and then you kind of have to relearn everything. Oof. All right, 2-0, throws a cock shot, and it's hit fairly well, but it's out to center field. Based on what just happened right there, that leads me to believe that we're looking at a right field to left field foul pole type of wind, because it looked off the bat like that was going to maybe get out. Then it just kind of floats back into play. So 1 out for Cooper Dossett. Needed that, honestly. Needed to just have a quick out, get to see the ball go through the net. Oof. All righty. Throws a breaking ball first pitch, and it was like a, right down the middle breaking ball. I don't think he was expecting a swing. Guy puts a swing on it and ropes it right into the glove of Reese Robinette. We will gladly take that for out number 2. All righty. Love that from Big Country. 4 pitches, 2 outs. After I think he threw like 30 pitches and barely got 2 outs the other day. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Yeah, for Dossett, man, like if he's throwing strikes, I don't think he's going to get hit, hard consistently. He's throwing that ball 97, 98, throwing absolute BBs at the top of the zone. That's some big time stuff. And that breaking ball is pretty good as well. I know it got hit pretty hard just now on the first pitch, but you get that breaking ball 1-2 off the plate a little bit. That's gonna be a tough pitch for him. There it is right there. 1-2 count now. Yanked that one a little bit. 2-2. I like to see him getting ahead, man. Like to see him getting ahead, getting some quick outs. Hopefully it helps him settle in a little bit. The Springdale native, old Cooper Dossett, man. Got that Kid Ink walkout song, Hell and Back. Another base hit that just kind of finds the right spot. Good piece of hitting there by Griffin, the cleanup hitter for Arkansas State. Gets a 2-2 heater, sort of on the elevated, sort of on the outer edge, and just kind of goes with it. Didn't hit it particularly hard, but it seemed like Kojal was shifted pretty aggressively over there towards that second base bag, and it gets through. So 2-out single, no big deal. Just get right back to work. Got to face a lefty and a dangerous one that's already homered in this game. So a little bit of a danger spot, but you're good. If it was easy, everyone would do it. It's a big old dude here, hitting fifth. Oof. Strike two. Okay. One, two count. Ooh. Oof. What the heck happened there? Oh, gosh. 1-2 count. Looked like a fastball kind of lower in the zone, and it was hit kind of right to Zack Stewart. He had to come in a little bit for it, but just completely overruns it. It's going to go down as an RBI double, but that is brutal. You don't give him an error if it doesn't touch his glove, but Zack Stewart, I don't know if he just misread this one off the bat or what. Oh, man. Oh, I mean, it was hit probably 3 feet to his left, and he ends up kind of hustling over towards the gap, and it floats its way back. That's brutal because it's going to go down as an earned run for Dossett, who should have been out of the inning with 10, 11 pitches. And now there's 9-3, runner in scoring position. Yikes. Dude, it's just one of those days where it's like anything that could go wrong has gone wrong for Arkansas. Oh, that's brutal. Ooh. And I think he may have just given up a nuke. 0-1 pitch. Oh, the breaking ball that just right down Broadway, and that one's going to get out into the hog pen. 11-3. Man, it's just not Arkansas's day. Just not the Pigs' day right here, man. And hate to see it for Dossett, man, because it's again he should have been out of that inning with just the one little single, barely gets through the right side. If he catches that ball in left field, one, it's 8-3, and you're like, okay, whatever. But man, that would have been a very productive inning for Dossett, where you're like, okay, he's kind of back to normal, and that could maybe get him going. Now instead, you've got 3 earned runs. Absolutely brutal. And listen, you make mistakes like that against good teams. You give them opportunities. That's what happens. You can't give outs away, and you can't throw breaking balls right down the middle. That is the lesson these Razorback pitchers are just going to have to learn one way or the other. God, that's brutal, man. Going from one, but you should have been out of the inning 8-3. I mean, Arkansas probably isn't going to win this game either way because they ain't swinging the bats all that great. But man, you get out of there 8-3, you've at least got a chance to put some pressure on them. Another 0-2 pitch, just right over the heart of the plate. Man, you got to make some adjustments here. Okay. Throws another 0-2 pitch over the heart of the plate, but this one was taken for strike 3. So he gets out of the inning eventually, but that's 11 runs on 12 hits. And again, it's going to go down as an RBI double with 2 outs when really it was just you can't. I mean, the scorers are never going to give the left fielder an error on a ball that he doesn't touch, but that is a misplay from your left fielder. That's brutal. And that's why Zack Stewart's most likely going to play DH, for being honest with you. But, man, that's a brutal one. Let's see what the chat are saying. I see Donna Burner says they better be running polls after this game. Love that. Let's see. I see a chat here that says anybody that says Nate Thompson should be here next year doesn't know ball. This home run or bust approach doesn't win. I don't know if that like the home run approach is what's costing Arkansas in this game. I think their pitchers throwing a bunch of cock shots is mostly what's costing them in this game. But that is certainly a take. See, Showtime Fantasy Podcast says this team is trash, which is funny because I'm pretty sure it's the same guy who, anytime we say anything negative about the football program, he starts pissing and moaning about how we're too negative. But he thinks the baseball team sucks. The football team doesn't, but the baseball team does. Very interesting. Camo Gang says, can't sanitize this. The whole midweek bit. I don't know, L. I mean, I don't know if what I'm doing is trying to sanitize it. It is a midweek game, but yeah, I think that the most disappointing part is that you've got some older guys on the mound. You know, you had Tate McGuire, who's one of your top guys, threw really well against TCU. He comes in and gives up 2 home runs. Cooper Dawson's a guy that Arkansas really needs to get going. He, did not have a great outing here. Didn't get some help, but he makes a lot of mistakes. Now you're still kind of wondering what you have there. Some of those guys at the bottom of the lineup, TJ Pompey in particular, like not getting those guys going, that is the most disappointing part for me. But at the end of the day, this is very much still a midweek game. But I think you could still be disappointed by a lot of things that have played out the way they have in this game. I would like to see Arkansas at least kind of put some pressure here after, like at least get 5 or 6 runs out there to where you can at least do the bit of like, oh, can you get the tying run of the plate, whatever. Daniel Shee in the chat, he says, can you remember the last true clunker Arkansas has had? Don't think there has been one since I started covering the team. There definitely has been one. I mean, come on. They've lost midweek games, in the last few years. I remember they laid a little bit of an egg up in Springfield a couple years ago. I think they lost a game like 11-3 to Missouri State at home a couple years ago. They got run ruled at A&M a couple years ago. Yeah, but so they had this guy says SEMO. Yeah, they lost to SEMO in the NCAA tournament. I'd say that was a clunker, but Arkansas's definitely. They got run ruled in at least a game or two last year. I think they got run ruled in Baton Rouge last year. Yeah, these games happen. They just suck when they happen. And it looks like before I can even get my screen pulled up, Zack Stewart grounds out the first pitch he sees. Carson Willis grounds out on the second pitch he sees. And so Arkansas's got 2 quick outs here in the bottom of the 7th. Yeah, no, man, this is a stinker, absolute stinker of a performance. And what's tough about this one is like Wednesday was kind of the game where if you were like predicting a stinker, I think Wednesday would have been the one where you're like most likely going to throw a lot of freshmen. And so if that game gets away from you, okay. But Peyton Lee, I expected him to not give up 6 runs in 2 innings of work here today. He does. Tate McGuire is one of your top guys. You threw McElvain, and McElvain was outstanding in this game. But it's not like Arkansas punted this game. You had most of your everyday starters in there, and you threw some guys on the mound that you expect to help you. That's why it's really tough to be like, just kind of a throwaway game, because Arkansas didn't throw this game away other than by just playing poorly. But it's not like they, if this were a lineup that had like 4, like if you had Alexander Peck in at first base, yeah, you have Carson Willis at DH, you've maybe got Christian Turner in left, like you can at least say, okay, we're just kind of playing this game to develop or whatever. Arkansas played a lot of their top guys, some of which were good, some of which were fine, but yeah, just not much has gone well for Arkansas in this one. And Micah New strikes out looking at a very well-executed fastball on the outer edge. They letting this little 5'7" guy shove it right up their ass. I mean, that's tough. It's tough sledding right there, man. Yeah. Butcher Boy says, no more watch-alongs, Andrew. It appears to be bad juju. Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, shit, we'll see how this goes, but we'll be okay. We're gonna keep doing them for midweek games. I'm definitely not gonna do until we've confirmed that the watch-alongs are not a curse. Then I won't do it for like a high leverage game. I'm not gonna do it for like a rubber match on Sunday, but we could still do watch-alongs for midweek games because frankly, who cares? Let's see. I see Ozzy doing the worst team since 2016 bit. Anybody who says this is the worst team since 2016 does not remember that 2016 team, because that 2016 team stunk, bro. 26 and 29. That is not what this is here. This is a stinker of a performance that you should be very annoyed by, but this ain't 2016. Let's see. Camo Gang says GA will come into Fayetteville and completely thump out expectations. What game 3? I don't know what this one means necessarily. We'll see if I can find some sentences that make sense here. T Razorback says this isn't just one loss. Getting embarrassed at home by little brother. Yeah, you definitely are getting embarrassed at home by little brother. That is what this is for sure. And yeah, like I was saying, if this were tomorrow, I really wouldn't care much at all. You know, like if you put out Jordan Martin out there and he gives up 5 runs, okay, you know, you're probably not really expecting him to, you know, to have a huge role for you right away. Like Joey Lorenzini, maybe he doesn't have the command. Okay, you can kind of live with that. The fact that Arkansas like tried to win this game and is not even going to come close is a tough one. See a lot of, you know, we're not going to Omaha. We missed our chance. Yeah, I definitely don't think like you should be making your big picture assessment of how good Arkansas is going to be based on this game. But I think you should be very disappointed in the effort, no doubt about that. Looks like Luke Cornelison is on the bump for Arkansas, little freshman from Missouri. He's thrown the ball pretty well in some scrimmages. Also a two-way guy who has played some third base in some scrimmages for Arkansas. Not hasn't been great at the plate, but has a pretty live arm. Throws that fastball in the mid-90s. Excited to see how he can throw. Good to see him make his debut. I'm sure he would have preferred to make his debut without an 8-run deficit, but you know, you do what you got to do. Go out there and do your job, young man. Do what you got to do. Quickly down 2-0. Make it 3-0. Yeah, we're like on very, very firm run rule watch for Arkansas. And it's a 4-pitch walk to start Luke Cornelison's career. Raw Hog says this team definitely reminds me of several of our teams from the past several years, except with worse pitchers. Interesting. It is always funny to me when people will be like, yeah, this reminds me of last year's team or something like that, when it's like Arkansas has been, you know, very good most years. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if like obviously today is a real like brutal one. It's hard to make any case for this team, you know, based on, you know, if we're using today's game as what we're doing to evaluate. Yeah, it's tough to see the vision of like, oh yeah, it's going to be a really good team. I have a hard time believing that you guys truly believe like this team's like screwed and they're not gonna make the NCAA tournament. Like, I have a hard time believing this is how y'all actually feel. But you know, when your team plays a poor game, I get it. It's frustrating. Fly ball to Kahio Aloy. Gold Glover out there in right field, man. Dude's a stud. First out for Luke Cornelis, and he needed that, honestly. All right, now you back up to the top of the lineup. So the guy with the cool batting stance is back up. He might just homer again. Make it a 10-run game. That batting stance, bro, is insane. Yeah, I'm starting to see some more people in the chat who are like, hey, maybe the first midweek game of the year is not an actual indication. And as I say that, Luke Cornelison gives up, man, another like, I'd say there's been a lot of like just ground balls that have found a way through. A guy, it's like a little chopper that just gets right over the head of Souza at third base. Nothing really anybody could do about that one. There's been about 4 or 5 ground balls that weren't hit hard that have just kind of found their way through. And, but that's what happens when you put the ball in play, especially when you have runners on. Usually when you have runners on, you've got guys kind of squeezing for double play depth. You've got the runner at first holding the guy on, and so it just kind of can snowball on you. But yeah, now we're like really approaching for real run rule territory here. Because you got 2 runners on, 1 out. It's 11-3 right now. Heart of the lineup coming up. Arkansas will have the heart of their lineup up next inning. Good pitch there from Cornelison. Gets a swing and miss on the breaker. Yeah, sometimes you just got to show up to the yard and you just got to eat shit. And that's what Arkansas is doing out here today, man. This will build better men. It'll build character in this squad. Yeah. I mean, geez. Listen, guys, I get it. This is a tough loss, and I'm annoyed by it. You should also be, but like, are we really doing like the NCAA tournament talk? And like, are they going to be able to host a regional? Like, let's relax here. Let them at least lose a weekend series. You know what I mean? Like if you lose a series to like Stetson, like if you split with Stetson and go 2-2, that would be like a huge where you're like, okay, wow. If Gabe Gackle gives up 6 runs to Stetson or something like that, or UT Arlington is able to just rake against Hunter Dietz, then I would see being like, whoa, that's a big deal. But on a Tuesday, got the club going up on a Tuesday. Good first career strikeout from Luke Cornelison. Just dots a fastball over the edge, and the guy just didn't want to swing at it. Ooh, I think we may have an E5 on Nolan Souza here. I have to rewind real quick and watch this again. Yeah, breaking ball. Did a good job getting to it, but then the throw just pulls Reese Robinette off the bag. Fortunate that runner at second base didn't score on that. So everything that happens from here on out will be unearned against Luke Cornelison for those that care about that. But he's got a little bases loaded 2-out jam here. And again, we are like on the strictest of run rule watch here. And you got the cleanup hitter up at the plate. Man. Yucky stuff. Oof, wild pitch, and looks like that'll bring home a run. So 12-3, just a breaking ball that was about 48 feet. All righty, so now you got runners second and third, 2 out, first base open, 2-0 count. Yeesh. You really about to get run ruled by Arkansas State, man. That's a brutal one. Let's see. Make it a 3-0 count. Might as well just go ahead and put them on, huh? Might as well. Let's see. Three-0 pitch. It does not catch the plate. So now back to bases loaded. Probably might get a little mound visit here. Calm down the freshman. Yeah, go ahead and calm down the freshman. Bases loaded, 12-3. Yuck. Let's see. All right, let's see what you guys are saying. Yeah. Butcher Boy says, get these first appearance jitters out of their system. We aren't throwing weekend arms outside of maybe McIlvain and Dossett. And damn it, Souza. Have we already demoted Tate McGuire to no longer a weekend arm? I personally am not. I think Tate McGuire is a legitimate weekend arm that'll probably throw for Arkansas. Let's see. And see, Showtime says last year we hit on transfers, JT and Davalon. This year our high end transfers are bummy. New and Pompey aren't ready for the bright lights. That was in a nutshell. That is what's happening right now, where Arkansas's not getting what they need to get out of their transfers. You're not getting much out of Pompey, not getting much out of New. Who else? Am I missing someone else? I guess Stewart's doing it. He's swinging the bat okay. And then a freshman in Brumbaugh who hasn't produced much. But at this time last year, you also, we touched on it earlier. This time last year, Justin Thomas was hitting 235. Charles Davalon was hitting 250 with 0 home runs. Logan Maxwell wasn't producing at a high level. Kojal wasn't even in the everyday lineup at that point. And so these things evolve over time, but that's certainly what's going to be what dictates the ceiling for this Razorback team. Because, contrary to, what we say a lot of times, Arkansas does have a very high floor. Like, I think if we're talking realistic, the worst case scenario for this Razorback team would be that you're like the top non-host. Like, you'd be like number 17 in terms of NCAA tournament seeding. Like, that's probably the worst case scenario, just based on because you have so much returning in the lineup. You've got veterans in the pitching staff. Now, if those guys that are transfers, New and Pompey, start to get it going a little bit, maybe you get someone like Souza going, that can raise Arkansas to a legitimate national seed type of level. But as it's constructed right now, with the way the lineup's producing, I think Arkansas is closer to being more of just kind of a middle of the pack, pretty good lineup for right now. Let's see what we got going on here. Daniel, she says, I would demote Dawson before I demote Guire. I think I would agree with that as well. And then Butcher Boy did say he forgot about Tate, so it's all good. But no, yeah, I think that's that. And again, that's the worst part about today is that you didn't throw a bunch of random bums. You know what I mean? You started a freshman in Peyton Lee. He gets roughed up. That's a tough one. But like outside of that, you threw some guys that you expect to help you. And it's okay. I'm seeing. So I got to see this guy says, can't wait to see how Andrew spins this to say that we are actually a good team. So, okay, do y'all actually genuinely not think Arkansas is a good baseball team? Obviously, they stunk today. This was an absolute stinker of a performance, but it's like, are y'all, if that's really truly how you feel, then like, I don't know, man, we're just going to have to agree to disagree on where we're setting the bar here. Obviously, there's no way to spin this performance to be like, no, this was actually a great performance by Arkansas. No, this is disgusting is what it was, but it doesn't change the overall outlook of what the team's going to be able to accomplish. And so, like, I guess if this is how you really feel, like, you're probably going to be stunned if Arkansas wins 20 SEC games, right? Would you agree with that? Because, it's probably what we're looking at here. But man, this is very interesting. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't have expected anybody to be like buzzing after a Tuesday game where you get damn near run ruled by Arkansas State, but I think it's okay to just be like, hey, I'm pissed off about this game. This sucks. We'll hope we play better. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. Which is really where we're at. Just like if they come back and run rule Arkansas State tomorrow, it's not going to be a thing where it's like, oh, see, they figured it out. Now they're great. It's like, you're going to have variance when you're playing a 65 game season. But certainly a disappointing effort today. Just did not have it in any way, shape, or form. Souza punches out on a little, 58-mile-an-hour breaking ball. This little 5'9" dude is just absolutely shoving against Arkansas, man. That's always the funniest part about these midweek games is you see these guys that, you just will not see a pitcher like this all year long. Like, you will not face another guy that's throwing this kind of specific arsenal, but man, thank God they ain't got an answer. Let's see. Showtime Fantasy says it's not losing, it's getting Little Broad and Baum. This should never happen. Never. Well, then I got bad news for you. Like these things happen all the time. And I'm not saying they should. I'm not saying you should be happy about it, but it's like we were joking earlier about the Little Rock game where Arkansas got run ruled by Little Rock. The first ever game where Arkansas played an in-state opponent, they get run ruled by Little Rock. That team went to Omaha. Like so again, it's not like you should be happy that they got run ruled, but to act like having a game like this would then like disqualify you from going to the College World Series to being awesome. Hell, the 2018 team, they got little broed a lot. They did not win a single road series all year. I know this is at Baum, a little bit different, but these types of games happen and they suck, but it doesn't have to affect your like big picture vision for what you think the team is going to accomplish. I mean, like, I know that like it seems like common sense, and I kind of thought we would all be on the same page, but yeesh, man. Let's see. Hudge 12 says you can't waste the best offense in school history with another Omaha choke and not expect a frustrated fan base when the offense looks awful. And again, that's not my message is not you shouldn't be frustrated. In fact, I've said the exact opposite of that. And if you've been watching the stream, like, I'm frustrated. I'm also annoyed. You should definitely be frustrated, but there's a difference between being like, man, I'm annoyed by this, or even saying, hey, I've got some concerns, than it is where we're doing the thing where we're like, this team's not going to make the NCAA tournament. This team's not going to be able to host a regional. This team is screwed when we get to, like, now we're just talking about make-believe la-la land bullshit. And so it's like, that's all I'm asking is like, could we maybe meet somewhere in the middle where it's like, be frustrated. Let's talk about things they need to do better, areas they can improve, which we do every single day. It's not like I'm sitting here saying, hey, there's nothing wrong. Like, I talk about Arkansas's deficiencies every single day. But you can do that without like having these like fake conversations where we just start making shit up. Because that's like, I just don't really see like what the purpose of that is, other than if it's just like a blatant, like, maybe if it's just like a reverse jinx thing where you're like, if I say this, they'll do the opposite. I think some people do that. I have some buddies who do that, but I can't relate, if I'm being honest with you. Seems like a weird way to live life. All righty. So we're about to hit. All right, we are now, it's 5:32, and we are still in the bottom of the eighth for now. 2 strikes, 2 outs. I wonder who throws the ninth for Arkansas. Maybe that's when you get another freshman in there. Let's see. Man, I'm seeing some angry words. All right, still looking at a 3-2 count to Kojal. John texted me earlier and was pointing out how our record in watch parties as a company is pretty low. We had last year for basketball, I remember one for LSU. We did that one at a local establishment. That did not go well. They did a watch party for A&M basketball. That did not go well. We did a watch party for the opening day doubleheader that Arkansas did last year against Washington State, and that went well. We did win both of those games. But good play there from the first baseman. 3, and we head to the 9th inning. But yeah, we have not. There's not many examples of inside Arkansas doing a watch party that has gone well, particularly. Let's see. According to Stat Broadcast, it looks like Cornelison is going to stay out there for the 9th. And I see Daniel Shee. Where was he at? Says probably means they're saving Lorenzini for tomorrow. Yeah, earlier I said that would be my guess as to who starts tomorrow. I think you'll see a few other freshmen pitch, obviously. I think you might see Jordan Martin's debut. You might see Mark Brissy, who threw really well a couple weeks ago. Any other freshmen that might could throw? Maybe Grant Wren, maybe not. But yeah, I think they'll get some other freshmen in there. Let's see. What else we got going on in the chat? B. George says, I honestly think this is just a bad day. It happens. It's baseball. I'm mad as hell, but understand this is sometimes how things go early on. I think that's fair. We got Kelku. Shout out to Mama Cameron in the chat. Says, why are you not at the game? Well, I'm doing this. We do these little midweek live streams every week, try and spice things up on the podcast. And we imagine there's going to be a few that cross over with midweek games, and so we're just doing this live stream. It's how we do it. Plus, I think last I checked, it's cold as hell out there. So I figured this would be more effective, get people going a little bit more. We do a little live stream during the game. Not going to do one for tomorrow, by the way. I did see someone ask, you got a basketball game going. We got a basketball game, not at the same time. Basketball game's at 8 p.m., but, it's apparently you're not allowed to cover baseball if it's the same day as a basketball game. I learned that the hard way in Arlington. You are not allowed to talk about baseball the same day that a basketball game goes on. So, I will not be doing that tomorrow. Would never dare to do such a thing. All righty, Luke Nielsen's back out. Gets a swing and miss to start his inning. Love to see it. Samuel Brooks says, we've seen Curtis crash out. What will it take for you to crash out? I crash out all the time, dude. If you watch Inside Arkansas Live, I get after it with the chat all the time. I think I was crashing out even today. I just don't crash out over stuff that's not worth crashing out about. I crash out over like arguments with random strangers on the internet, not sports games. But no, I definitely crash out plenty. But it's going to be hard to get me to crash out for a non-weekend game, frankly. Because like I will crash out here and there on the weekend, especially, it's like a big series, a lot of anxiety, a lot of emotion. But it's hard to even like build up the adrenaline to crash out during a Tuesday or a Wednesday, because you really do need the adrenaline. You need the intensity, you need the emotion, and it's hard to get that on a midweek. And frankly, I think if you are getting it on a midweek, you probably are not going to be in great health. Nice little punch out there for Luke Corneliuson. Turned out to be a pretty solid little debut for him. He did have the unearned run. I think it was an unearned run. Let me fact check this real quick. Yeah. Unearned run there for Corneliuson because he had the 2-out error. Makes sense. I see Hillbilly says the early season losses bite you all season long. This is not really true. I mean, I understand RPI is a thing and they do count on your resume, but they really don't. In fact, they don't even it won't even hurt you tomorrow. Like I don't think Arkansas is going to be in the middle of SEC play in like mid-April, and they're going to be sitting there being like, phew, but you remember when Arkansas State whipped our ass? I don't really think this is going to be the type of thing that like sticks with you. I think you guys would be stunned. I understand, and again, I understand that we locked in on our program as we should be, but like I think you guys would be stunned to know how common midweek losses are. Like they happen pretty much all over the country, like big time teams. There was a year, I remember in I guess it would have been 2017. My one of my best friends was at LSU, and they went to the national title series, and I think they had a losing record in midweek games that year. Just kind of one of those things where, sometimes you're throwing some weird guys. And for this Arkansas team, I think they should have enough arms to be getting through games like this. Definitely without them going this way. But these things, this is not like a unforeseen thing that's only happening to Arkansas. And by the way, you got a nice little 6-4-3 double play from Luke Corneliuson to finish up his second inning of work. Let's see. Samuel Brooks says, do you expect Arkansas to bounce back tomorrow and get the dub against A-State? I don't know. I mean, that's what's weird about it is that Arkansas is going to be throwing dudes on the mound tomorrow that are far less experienced than Tate McGuire, far less experienced than Ethan McIlvain. But who knows? I mean, that's the beauty of this sport is it's like you can have the exact same teams play one day after another and it can flip the other way. And so I would imagine Arkansas would swing the bats much better because you're just going to be facing what I would expect to be worse pitching from Arkansas State, because I can't imagine they're going to be throwing a ton of top guys on a Wednesday game before a weekend series, but you never know. Sure, I'll say Arkansas swings their way to a win tomorrow, but who the hell knows, man. Daniel Shee says, I have a reputation as being a Debbie Downer, but Florida was the worst team in the SEC for 4 weeks, sans Missouri, and still made it to a regional, and then Kevin O'Sullivan lost his mind. Yeah, I mean, listen, we are not, like, I just personally am not partaking in the is Arkansas going to make the NCAA tournament? Shit. Like, we're just like, that is, obviously if, you lose a series to UT Arlington, you lose a series to Stetson, and then you're going an SEC play and you're like, holy cow, what are they going to do? Then at that point, we really could have that conversation. But like, I think you guys are going to be stunned at how little this game winds up mattering. But who knows? Maybe this is really just a sign of things to come. All right, we head to the bottom of the ninth, man. Let's see how this thing goes. I'm sure it'll go well. All righty. Kahio Lloyd grounds out to first base. That's one out. And you see this a lot too, and I think we've seen specifically Arkansas, their lineup goes into this mode where it's almost like once the game gets out of hand, everyone's ABs just become a lot more selfish. You no longer are like fighting off pitches and, being patient and working the count. Like, you just kind of reach a moment where you're just up there swinging. And they're facing this little slapdick righty that is just getting outs right now, man. Filling up the zone. Let's see. Man. I also do. I do hope that because I imagine there's a lot of people who are just like listening and not chatting and are probably wondering why I keep interacting with incels that probably are not even real people. And I do want you guys to know that I do acknowledge that I am focusing on the negative, loud minority that is making their voice known. I do completely understand that there's like most of you guys are like normal people who, are annoyed about the game, but understand that, it's not the end of the world as Big Country grounds out to shortstop. Boy, Arkansas State played just some tremendous defense in this game for the most part. They've thrown a ton of strikes. I think all their arms, none of their arms have been like crazy stuff or anything, but they just fill up a strike zone. Their at-bats have been competitive. They have been very impressive, man. Give them some credit. You should never on God's green earth be losing like this to these cats, but you can give Arkansas State some credit. They've played some good baseball, man. And you want to talk about, you talk about, is this like, loss going to affect Arkansas moving forward? This will give them a nice little boost, Arkansas State. And this will be, if they end up getting in that range, I don't think they're going to be like an at-large tournament team, but, that'll give their resume a nice little boost. And so, good to see that for an in-state school who allegedly is spending some money in baseball, man. Love to see it. I just would have preferred it not come at Arkansas's expense. It's not what we agreed upon, but, whatever. Pooh Bear says he's heard that 7 starters are out with the flu. Well, it can't be 7 starters because I'd say of the starting lineup, almost all of them are regular starters besides Willis and I guess Zack Stewart. So, but maybe, starting pitchers, I guess, like, maybe Gabe Gackel's got the flu or something. I don't know. But yeah, we did talk about that a little bit earlier. It does seem like there's been some type of little bug going around, which also, one thing I can promise you guys, hey, TJ Pompey hit a ball off the wall. Oh, and it ended up being just a single off the wall. He honestly hit it too hard, but 2-2 count. TJ Pompey goes the other way, hits one off the wall. Maybe that gets him going a little bit, but what I was going to say is that you will never, ever, ever hear me say, hey guys, don't worry about that performance. Arkansas was sick. I don't think illness is like really something that like is means it's okay to just completely mail it in, but it does seem like that could be a little bit of a factor in this game. But man, get that shit cleaned up before the weekend. That's what I'd say. Good old TJ Pompey. The drought is over. Oh, Zack Stewart. Zack Stewart drops a base hit down the right field line. That'll score Pompey. It's a 12-4 game. Don't look now, guys. The pig ain't going down without a fight. The heart of a champion, man. If Arkansas State thought this was going to be easy in here, man, Watch out. I love that. Love that. Yeah, I see Pooh Bear, he doubled back and just said that's like, just what he heard or whatever. Yeah, no, I think they said Phil on the radio call was saying that you got several pitchers out and a couple position players. And so the 7 number that you heard is probably not terribly far away from accurate. I just, genuinely, I've been doing the stream. I have no idea, but it's not like one of those things where Arkansas didn't have their regular starting lineup out there. They had a lot of regular starters. But it does seem like there is some type of legitimate sickness going around. Let's see. I keep seeing Muggsy in the chat, and I was wondering who people are talking about. I guess that's their pitcher. We'll see if Carson Willis can end his first career start with a nice swing. He pops one up. I think that'll do it. Yep, P4. That'll do. Well, the game did end before 6 o'clock. Love to see that. Would have preferred it not be a lopsided loss for the Arkansas Razorbacks, but we do what you got to do. Very unsuccessful watch party to start the year, but we did it in just under 3 hours. Seriously though, appreciate everybody for tuning into this, man. The fact that people are even paying attention at all to baseball in the middle of a work week, in the middle of a work day, that's a win for me. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. We're going to keep doing these, not tomorrow because we got a basketball game, but we will definitely be doing some more midweek watch-alongs, and let's hope the other ones go a little bit better than that. But appreciate you guys for tuning in, and we'll be back at it tomorrow. Inside Arkansas Live, Pod at the Palace post game, all that fun stuff. You guys have a good one. Seriously, appreciate you guys for tuning in.